And first of all, Wolves, fighting for their Premier League lives, are against Everton at Molineux. Your commentary team this afternoon: Mike Ingham, Aidy Boothroyd, who you've heard from, and first of all, Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Mark. Grand National Day, always a sign that the Football League season is reaching its conclusion, and the bottom 7 clubs in the Premier League face 7 games to remain in the top flight. And although Wolves are currently 1 off the bottom, as we've heard, there remains optimism around Molineux that Mick McCarthy's men will survive. The 2 Manchester clubs and Chelsea have already lost here, and it's that home form which fans hope will see them through to survival this season. Mick McCarthy's made 2 changes here today. Adam Hamill and Nenad Milias dropped to the bench. He's made the switch to 4-4-2. Stephen Fletcher returns alongside Sylvain Ebanks-Blake in attack, and there's a welcome return for the Algerian Adley Guediora, starting his first game since injury in September. 1 change for Everton. Their injury jinx has struck again. Seamus Coleman didn't travel, so Maguy Gay, a young Frenchman, makes his debut here today. And when you look at their bench, you take out Victor Anichebe, and the other 6 players have 10 minutes of Premier League experience between them. Aidy Boothroyd, it's a big day for Wolves, but also a big day for Everton. If they win here today, they're putting great pressure on Liverpool in 6th place.
Well, they are, yeah. I mean, Everton have not started the season the best, but that's generally what they do, and they pick up a momentum. And considering the players that they've got out, and the fact that that's that there, 10 minutes experience coming into a game of this magnitude at this stage of the season, you know, it just shows you how they are. Once they get in the stride, Everton, they just find a way to win.
Arteta, Fellaini, Sahar, Rodwell and Cahill all unavailable to David Moyes today. And it's Everton who will get the game underway in their blue and white, Wolves in their famous old gold and black. And Everton will be attacking the Jack Harris stand away to our right-hand side in the opening 45 minutes. A beautiful spring day here at Molineux. But we can see from the flags on the Steve Bull stand on the far side, there was a strong breeze blowing from right to left, which could become a factor as the game continues. Everton can see possession on the far side, which is the Wolves' right, and it's a throw-in which Kevin Foley will take. 15 yards inside the Everton half, high up towards Ebanks-Blake, who nods it down, looking for Guediora, looking for his first touch in his first start since September, and he concedes a free kick, and Everton will look to build again midway inside their own half. And Tim Howard is the man who will come out to take the goal kick. So a reminder of the teams again in formation: Wayne Hennessy in goal for Wolves, Kevin Foley, Richard Stearman, Christophe Berra and George Elokobi the back 4, Matt Jarvis, Carl Henry, Jamie O'Hara and Adley Guediora in midfield, Sylvain Ebanks-Blake and Stephen Fletcher in attack. For Everton, Tim Howard in goal, Tony Hibbert, Sylvain Distin, Phil Jagielka and Leighton Baines across the back. Maguy Gay, John Heitinger, Phil Neville and Dinyar Bilyanetinov in midfield, with Leon Osman looking to support Jermaine Beckford, who is ostensibly the lone striker in the Everton attack in the absence of the likes of Cahill and Sahar. It's a throw-in for Everton, hurled long into the penalty area by Phil Neville and gathered easily by Wayne Hennessy.
Yeah, the long throw in there coming in, but it's they've not got the height in the team. The Fellaini's out, and I think that's something that the Wolves back 4 will relish, going and heading those balls.
Jarvis now playing at Molineux for the first time since his New England cap, tries to play the ball into the penalty area. Hibbert comes in with a challenge, and it's Wolves' first corner, attacking the north bank away to our left, and that part of Molineux will be demolished at the end of the season to start the redevelopment, which will make this stadium basically a new 36,000 development. Jarvis with the corner in towards the near post, headed away by Osman, and Wolves now will have a throw-in down this near side.
Just interesting looking at that first corner. Everton's got everybody back, and Wolves have taken advantage, pushing an extra man forward. Leaves Jamie O'Hara on the edge of the box, and I think anything that comes out on his left foot, that could pose a few problems for Everton on that second phase.
Elokobi winds up for a long throw, high into the penalty area. It is a long throw as well, cleared away as far as Guediora. Right foot shot from him is deflected, and it's behind for a corner, and that was goal bound from the Algerian.
Yeah, he looks lively, lovely first touch. I think he's just ghosted his pass there, the debutant Gay there, and great shot and a very, very good block.
It was Phil Neville with the block, and he burst across the penalty area there to keep Everton on terms inside the first 3 minutes. Jarvis now with an outswinger driven towards the edge of the penalty area. O'Hara takes it on the volley left-footed, and it skies high and wide. But you pointed out that set piece, Aidy, and Wolves there trying to capitalise.
Yeah, they've run everybody into the box, and Jamie O'Hara's got the quality on that left foot. You know, he can hit it on the volley, on the half volley, and just getting his range there now. So it'll be interesting to see what the Everton bench do, whether they put an extra man out there to stop that.
3 minutes played here. Wolves 0, Everton 0 in the Barclays Premier League on Grand National Day here on BBC 5 Live. The big race coming up at 4:15. We'll have commentary on 5 races in total today, and during this game at 1:45 you'll hear the Mersey Novice Hurdle, and at 2:15 the McGull Novice Steeplechase. It's worth giving you a look at the bottom of the Premier League table while this game's in its early stages, as Wolves try and chase down this far side, but Distan manages to clear up and clear for Everton. From the bottom, Wigan have 31, Wolves 32, West Ham 32, Blackpool 33, and then Villa, Birmingham and Blackburn all have 34 points. Of course, Blackpool will drop into the relegation zone for the first time this season if Wolves can avoid defeat here today. And the big game around the bottom today is Birmingham. They go to Blackburn, of course, a real 6-pointer at the bottom. Whoever wins that game will feel they've taken a giant stride towards survival. But looking at the table, Aidy, we could have 4 or 5 teams involved going into the final day.
Yeah, I mean for the neutral, it's absolutely fantastic, and even more really harping on at the interview that Sylvain Ebanks-Blake had, that if you have been before and you have got that experience of being in a dogfight, it can certainly help you. And Wolves have been there all season, and looking at Mick's notes in the programme, you know, the big point is made. It doesn't matter where we are now, it's where we are at the end of the season that counts. You can be in the bottom 3 all season, but in that last day of the season, if you can get out of it, then you're on for the next year.
And the longer teams stay in the Premier League, like Wolves, you look at Stoke City, the longer they become established, possibly the more comfortable they become. As Everton try and build on the far side there left, Osman tries to shake off Henry and runs the ball into touch. Everton believe Osman was fouled, nothing was given, and Wolves with a throw-in quickly try and build on the far side there right. The challengers fly in just inside the Wolves half, and it was Osman there with a late challenge on Cole Henry, and Phil Dowd, our referee, maybe thinks about the first yellow card of the day, but in the end settles for a word with Leon Osman.
I think he's just getting his breath back, Phil. There's a bit of a sun there. He's working up and down the pitch, but I think that's something else we'll see. Leon Osman looking to support Beckford. Beckford's trying to stretch the Wolves back 4, and Leon Osman picking up those spaces, but defensively, when he hasn't got the ball, they'll be getting on Carl Henry, who is the playmaker for Wolves.
Given away by Phil Neville midway inside the Everton half. It's now picked up by the solid figure of Alakobi. O'Hara drifts it wide to the left-hand side, looking for Jarvis, who just for a second there looked to be in behind Tony Hibbert, but Everton do well to clear, but then give the ball away again. Here's O'Hara driving forward down the left-hand side, has Jarvis in support, tries to cross the ball in himself. It spins off Phil Neville, and despite the efforts of Tim Howard, it goes out for a corner to Wolves.
Yeah, they've definitely got a high advantage, Wolves, and again, it'll be interesting to see what they do at the edge of the box here, because if they're going to put a man on him, they've got to take one off the post.
6 minutes played, it's 0-0. Jarvis with the corner, high towards the far post this time, headed towards goal and headed off the line by Leon Osman at that far post, and now the ball's played back in again. Berra tries to flick the ball on, and panic stations there inside the Everton 6-yard area, and Leon Osman, who made the clearance off the line, has now cleared the ball away down this near side.
Another long throw coming in from Alakobi. It's like a heavyweight boxer, George Alakobi. Been another astute signing from the lower leagues from Mick.
He's almost as wide as he is tall, Alakobi, as he winds up now for the long throw. Flat towards the near post, headed away by Jagielka, volleyed back in by O'Hara, and this time the dipping volley didn't quite dip enough, and it's high over the crossbar. But all Wolves so far in the opening 7 minutes.
Yeah, they're certainly putting the pressure on. They've got Ebanks-Blake and Fletcher looking to work the sides, and when they drop off, they're getting the ball to Jarvis's feet, who's going to give Hibbert some problems today, but so far he's managed to keep it to set plays, corners and throw-ins, but that's what Wolves will look to exploit, I think, as the longer the game goes on.
And it was Stephen Fletcher who headed that ball towards goal. Tim Howard was flying across, he may have kept it out, but Leon Osman didn't take any chances, and a third of the goals Everton have conceded in the Premier League this season have come from headers, really indicating a lack of height and also a lack of continuity, Aidy, because the injury problems have really bitten at the heart of their defence.
Yeah, they have. I mean, the form has been very good of late, Everton. They've picked up, as we were talking about before the game, considerably. But that's an area, I think, that Wolves are going to look to exploit today.
They had that very damaging home defeat to Reading in the FA Cup, Everton, but either side of that, they're currently unbeaten in 5 matches in the Premier League, 4 points behind Liverpool, and they'll be hoping to move above their Merseyside rivals and finish above them in the Premier League for only the second time since winning the league back in 1987, as Wolves try to build again. A long ball drifted across the pitch by Foley, and Fletcher does well to scamper towards this near side and gather, plays the ball off Hibbert, looking to win the corner, and he does so, although Phil Neville can't believe it as Jarvis makes the challenge. But Wolves have yet another corner, only 9 minutes played here, and they've been dominant so far, but it's still goalless here in the sunshine at Molineux. Jarvis will take the corner. Everton had an early warning from the last one. Jarvis again high towards the far post, headed away by Distan, and it's Gay, the youngster, making his full Premier League debut, who clears away only as far as Stearman. And now O'Hara looking to avoid relegation for the second successive season following his time on loan at Portsmouth last year. Ebanks-Blake heads it into the penalty area, and it's nodded back by Phil Neville towards Tim Howard.
No, they're certainly having the better of it, Wolves. When they're actually attacking, they're pushing forward to create a second wave of attack there, and the centre-back Bearer's pushing all the way onto Osman to try and stop him getting in on the ball.
Given away now by Stearman, and it's Gay who plays the ball into the penalty area, looking for the run of Osman down the Everton left-hand side, but eventually he's crowded out, and Stearman will stride away from Beckford and bring the ball forward over the halfway line, tries to find Fletcher, who just for a second there skipped away from Distan, and Distan barged him in the back, wide on the far side, and that will be a free kick to Wolves midway inside the Everton half.
Well, I think we're going to see an in-swinging free kick from Jamie O'Hara. He's got excellent quality at set plays. All the big guys are going up.
10 minutes played here on 5 Live Sport. It's 0-0, and this a real test again, Aidy.
Well, I think it is, yeah. I mean, they're very, very well organised on this. Not just the first phase where they've got people running across bodies. Everton are lined up, not so much man-to-man marking, more zonal. But Carl Henry on the edge of the box.
O'Hara plays it high into the penalty area. Fletcher rose again at the far post, but couldn't direct the header towards goal, and it's high into the north bank at Molineux, and that will be a goal kick to Everton. David Moyes is standing there, arms folded on the edge of the technical area. AD, you look at what he's got here today and what's on the bench, and he's got no room for manoeuvre whatsoever, has he?
No, he hasn't, but that's the great thing about one of the great things about David Moyes, I think, is that he doesn't complain, he gets on with it. I remember spending a bit of time with him a couple of years ago, and I asked him about how he plays the game and how he wants to do things, and he just said to me, Aidy, we just got to find a way to win. We're not Manchester United, we're a team that, and he's done it over, I think he's in his 7th or 8th year now at Everton. Some real stability at the club, and that's why he knows the boys that are on the bench. 10 minutes of experience between them, but he'll have seen the youth team, he'll have known the reserves, because he's been there for such a longer period of time. Yeah,
9 years at Goodison Park, in fact, one of the longest serving managers in the Premier League, behind Messrs Ferguson and Wenger, and I think it's reached the point as well that he would never say it, but I think Everton need him more than he needs them maybe at times.
Well, without a doubt, he's a fantastic manager, and they have a real togetherness. I think him and Bill Kenwright, the way they run the club, and you can say the similar thing for Wolves, really. Steve Morgan, Jez Moxey and Mick McCarthy are very, very tight. They have a game plan, an action plan they've built over several years. I remember when Wolves got done by West Brom in the playoff semi-finals, although Wolves fans won't like me saying that. They've grown as a club, and they've got better and better each year, because they've picked up signings from one or two foreign boys, but mostly boys from the lower league.
12 minutes played here as Ebanks-Blake strides away from Jagielka, bursting into the penalty area, left-hand side, needs support, gets it from Guardiola, who dabs the ball inside the box, looking to find O'Hara. It takes a deflection off Distan, and it's into the arms of Tim Howard, but there is the danger posed by Sylvain Ebanks-Blake.
Yeah, I think if that had been 20 yards further up the pitch, you would have seen a shot on goal there, but he managed to nick it away from Distan and Jagielka, but they got back because they're quick players, and just was about to pull the trigger, the two boys got the block on, and in the end it came to nothing for Wolves.
Ebanks-Blake plays it back towards Elakobi. The South Bank here at Molineux in good voice already. We played nearly 13 minutes. It's 0-0 as Jarvis looks to tease Hibbert again inside the penalty area. Left-hand side has gone beyond into the byline, pulls it back across the 6-yard area, and it took a deflection behind Fletcher, and Guardiola couldn't fasten onto the rebound at the far post. Everton now try and break. A long ball played over the top by Gay. Osman, though, may have been offside, but in any event, it's high into the arms of Hennessy.
That was a great chance for Everton, for Wolves, sorry there. Jarvis weaving his magic, very direct, looking to go inside, then dragging the ball onto his left foot and going on the outside. It's a good ball in, and Wolves, I think, just couldn't get enough players into the box there. You know, it was Guardiola who was 5 yards off the ball. If he'd have stepped onto it and got in front of Distan, we maybe would have seen our first goal.
Matt Jarvis, of course, played for 20 minutes against Ghana to win his first England cap at Wembley a couple of weeks ago. The first England international from Wolves for over 20 years, since Steve Bull during Wolves' days down in the old second division around the 1990 World Cup, as Everton are penalised for offside on the edge of the Wolves penalty area, and Wayne Hennessy will take the free kick. A reminder, Manchester United against Fulham, our commentary game coming up at 3 o'clock on 5 Live. It's a busy weekend. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock we've got in full Aston Villa against Newcastle. Then on Monday it's Liverpool against Manchester City, the whole game live from Anfield, as Fletcher flicks on for Wolves down this near side, looking for Ebanks-Blake, but the flag's up for offside, and that will be a free kick to Everton yet again. And Tim Howard is the man who will take it. They've had 14 draws in the Premier League so far this season, the same number as Fulham, and I suppose come the end of the season yet again, Aidy, they'll be thinking maybe if 4 or 5 of those have been wins, that the whole picture could be very different.
Well, yeah, but I think that's the stage they're at as a club. You know, I know they're looking for investment, but it's one of those things where it's just taking that next step to go, perhaps come and, you know, get into Europe on a regular basis. I think with the players he's got, done very, very well over a period of years, as we've said. But it's whether the club or whether they can make that next step, because, you know, it takes that extra bit of finance to get to that next level, I think. 15
minutes played here. Wolves 0, Everton 0 in the Premier League on 5 Live Sport on Grand National Day. And Wolves here haven't quite built on their very quick start to this game. Everton now making it more of a contest the longer the first half goes on, as it's cleared away by Berra. Long downfield, looking for Fletcher, who goes to ground as Distan makes the challenge, but there was the merest brush there of Distan's shoulder on Fletcher, and Phil Dowd gives nothing, and Everton try and build again. Baines with a decent looking ball down the line, far side there left, and there was a shirt tug there on Beckford, spotted by Phil Dowd, and this is a free kick to Everton in a decent area.
Oh, that can sometimes be a problem, you know. Centre-backs, they like to feel the man that they're playing against, and when you've got one playing up front, somebody like Beckford, he's off the shoulder, he's running in front of you, can get defenders caught with square shoulders and get in there, and Stayman's seen him a little bit late, just had a little tug at his arm, and it was like an in-swinging free kick from Leon Osman.
And what height there is in the Everton team, the likes of Jagielka and Beckford are now waiting inside the penalty area.
Looks like Heitinger's free at the far post here.
Yep, Heitinger's not been picked up by Wolves at all. Elakobi sees him belatedly as the free kick's played in by Baines, headed away by Henry at the near post. Now Hibbert with time to cross in the sunshine, but he hits the first man, O'Hara, and that will be a throw into Everton almost midway inside the Wolves half, down this near side, the Everton right, and Phil Neville is the man who has come across to take it. Nearly 17 minutes played, and it's still goalless here at Molineux. Neville long and high into the penalty area, but there's no challenge there really from an Everton player. Billy Netdenoff did his best, but in the absence of any sort of challenge, the ball loops gently into the arms of Hennessy. Yeah,
I think we're going to see those being shortened up a little bit. I think that's obviously a ploy that Everton use on a regular basis, but Wolves are a bigger team, particularly in those back areas, and they dealt with that with ease, really.
Ebanks-Blake hooks a high ball into the area over the head of Fletcher. Neville miskicks as he tries to clear. O'Hara can't win the ball back for Wolves, but now it's broken to Elakobi. down this near side, infield towards the captain Cole Henry, down the line, looking again for Ebanks-Blake. A poor clearance from Jagielka. Jarvis finds Ebanks-Blake, who goes down inside the penalty area, and I think both Ebanks-Blake and Jagielka were having a tug at each other there, and Phil Dowd says no penalty.
I think he's called it right. He could see it occurring with a bad clearance, and he's got back Phil because he's quick, Jagielka, and they were both leaning on each other. Perhaps a lesser experienced referee might have given that, but I thought it was the right decision.
And now at the other end, the ball's played back by Berra towards Hennessy, clearly on his wrong foot. His right's not one of his best, and it's hooked away down this near side by Billy Netdenoff to take a throw in for Everton in a dangerous area.
Yeah, those are the little moments in games where you want your goalkeeper to put distance with a ball and get it away from the area that the defending area under pressure, and instead they're having to defend a set play.
Wolves have been the better team so far, and a goal now for Everton would be a real hammer blow to this home crowd. Osman tries to scoop the ball into the penalty area from the throw-in, and it's into the arms of Hennessy again, the blonde-haired goalkeeper, who'll now look to clear long downfield for Wolves. And certainly the pace of Ebanks-Blake has caused problems in the opening 15 or 20 minutes, but it drops to Fletcher, who finds Guardiola on the edge of the penalty area, who tries to turn infield onto his left foot, but then treads on the ball and fouls Distan, and a promising move comes to an end.
Yeah, he's gone forward early there. The Everton back four have dropped right off, and Stephen Fletcher's managed to get it into his feet. The weather seems to be it's a lovely day. There's a swirling wind down there, and I'm just wonder whether that might play a part in the game.
Aidy Boothroyd, the former Watford and Coventry manager, with us here on 5 Live Sport today, and it's a good point he makes. We can see the flags on the far side going in all sorts of directions now on top of the Steve Bull stand. It looked great on the television. It is a warm sunny day in the sunshine, but here in the shade just a wee bit chilly, but we're not complaining too much as Elakobi plays a long ball forward looking for the run of Jarvis, headed away by Jagielka, and now it's Billy Netdenoff finding Hibbert down this near side, the Everton right. His ball forward strikes the arm of Elakobi, and rather unfortunately there, the Wolves defender has conceded a free kick for handball.
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's handball. It's not as if his hands
Mick's not sure.
No, he's telling him, but he would do, wouldn't he? He's telling him it shouldn't be a free kick. But yeah, I did think it was really. It's straight at his hand. He's not in an unusual position. It's where it should be, on the end of his arm.
That's what they could all say. Jagielka with the free kick, high into the area. It's controlled by Osman, who then controlled it on his chest and seemed to shy away from that challenge as Elakobi made the movement towards the ball. At the other end now, Fletcher tries to chase onto a long clearance, and Distan shepherds it back towards Tim Howard. And now Berra rises above Beckford, the two number 16s there, and it's cleared away by Foley. But all a bit scrappy now in the past couple of minutes. We played 20 minutes here on BBC 5 Live in the Premier League, and it's 0-0 between Wolves and Everton. And should it stay like this result would be enough to take Wolves out of the relegation zone and put Blackpool in it for the first time this season before they play Arsenal at lunchtime at Bloomfield Road tomorrow. As Hibbert plays a long ball downfield for Everton. It's cleared away, but only partially. And now Osman moves forward for Everton down the right-hand side. A decent ball into the area where it's glanced in by Jermaine Beckford. And such a simple goal for Everton is a real hammer blow for Wolves here at Molineux. They've dominated the start of this game, but it's Everton who've scored. Jermaine Beckford, Wolves 0, Everton 1.
Well, you've got to dominate you've got to score when you're dominant, and Wolves have certainly been that, but that's the quality of the players from Everton. Osman's been drifting in a central area, being picked up by a centre-back, but just then he's come between the left-sided centre-back Berra and Elakobi and got in and put in a great ball. As we talked about before, whip bowling that Jermaine Beckford has just glanced at the near post, and it's got into the far corner for 1-0 to Everton.
And David Moyes has always said this season, when Beckford's had his problems, that he's never seen a player with such good movement inside the penalty area, and that bears that out.
Well, he's got a load of goals at Division 1. He's never played in the Championship, come straight to the Premiership from Leeds, but he's a big talent, Jermaine. He's another player I tried to sign, by the way.
You always miss out on the good ones, though.
I seem to, yeah. I seem to. There's a little pattern forming here.
Here's Foley moving forward for Wolves. They need a quick response here. Trailing Everton by a goal to 0. O'Hara wide towards Foley again, who digs out the cross high into the area, looking for Guardiola. Headed away by Distan. Now Elakobi On towards Jarvis by the corner flag down this near side. Back towards Elakobi again with space to play the high ball into the area. Headed clear by Jagielka. Elakobi for the 4th time in the move. Wide towards Jarvis now. He'll try and take on Hibbert and burst into the penalty area. Infield, Guardiola now with space for the shot. Right foot curler. It's not too far wide.
Oh, good move again. A good move from Everton, from Wolves. They're certainly getting possession. They're certainly getting the territory. But once they get in there, it's that final ball, that final touch at the moment. But that's a really good effort from Guardiola there.
So we've reached the midpoint of the first half. Everton lead here at Molineux by 1-0 through to half-time with Mike Ingham.
Thank you, Nigel. Last weekend, Beckford thought he'd scored against Aston Villa. That was the one that David Moyes thought had gone over the line, and it wasn't given. And then, of course, Villa broke and scored. Well, today he absolutely has scored, and it's given Everton the lead slightly against the run of play here. But never mind that. It's all up to Wolves now to make the most of Molineux advantage if they're going to stay in the Premier League. The ball is inside the Wolves half. Everton are playing from left to right here. The newcomer Guy. It's a bit tight in midfield. Heitinger with his left foot, and he doesn't reach Baines. Cut out by the right back Foley. Everton still keep moving forward. Testing ball now for Stearman, the centre back. Gets his head to it, but it only drops back into the Everton midfield once more. Challenged now by Billy Ledenoff on O'Hara. The crowd are not happy with that. The Everton players are protesting. What do you think, Aidy, yellow card or not?
No, not at all. I think it's one of those full-blooded challenges we used to see on a regular basis. Both gone for the ball, both very brave. One's headed the ball, the other one's headed ahead. And it looks like O'Hara's come the worst off, but he's got up and got on with it.
And he might need a bit of attention here. There could be some blood, and Phil Dowd is just making sure the trainer comes on. But coming into this game today, looking at the fixtures for Wolves, 3/4 of their points have been gained here this season. They've had some big scalps, and Everton actually represent the highest ranked team of the rest that they have to play. But it's not going their way now, and they're going to have to show a bit of character now to get back.
Well, they are. I think the longer the game goes on, if they can maintain this, they have got a good bench. Wolves, they can change it around. Kitely's coming back. I mean, it's early days to start making substitutions, of course, but as we start to get to 70, 80 minutes and the score stays the same, they may well make a couple of changes. Everton, on the other hand, don't have that depth today.
Grand National Day. I think O'Hara must have got some blood on his shirt. He's going to need another one. The players are taking drinks. It's the first time, I think, since August that I've covered a game in England without a coat on. It's one of those lovely April days. We're slightly in the shadow here. We're not getting the full benefit of the warm sunshine, but it's a terrific day. And if you're on your way to a game, perhaps listening intently for news of Wolves, if you're one of the clubs, and it's an incredible situation at the bottom with 11 clubs separated by 7 points only. Indeed, if Wolves could win this game, they'd go up 5 places before the 3 o'clock kickoffs. The ball is out of play, and it's going to be a throw to Everton with this patched up side, punching way above their resources. Typical David Moyes team, of course. Mick McCarthy and David Moyes, the two managers down there, share lots of things in common. They both pick up players brilliantly. They don't waste money. They also both played for Celtic, of course, in their time. Now Everton with Billy Ledenoff. Good ball into midfield, stabbed on, but Wolves should get this one back. Henry, the captain, and then quickly played by Elakobi. Fletcher gets his header wrong, sends the ball back to the halfway line. Everton just won't come down for anybody at the moment. Now Fletcher, square ball to Guardiola, and now Foley, who's playing at right back. No Zubar, remember. Ball over Baines, is controlled neatly by Guardiola. Cross comes Gay, the young French player, helping out his defenders. In comes a cross away from Ebanks Blake, but Philip Neville, not too sure of his geography, puts it behind for a corner kick to Wolves.
He's starting to come into the game a little bit, Guardiola. We saw him just whip a right-hand shot, curling shot, just wide, and he's got on the ball there and managed to put a ball in. But they've got to get bodies into the box, Wolves. They've got to get across those Everton defenders.
O'Hara, no number on his shirt now with this new shirt. Taking a corner for Wolves over on the far side. 1-0 to Everton, and he'll have to take it again. The ball has been headed into the back of the Everton net. Phil Dowd, though, is just talking to 2 or 3 players on the edge of the 6-yard area. So another corner to Wolves, trading here 1-0 on 5 Live.
Now you've got Elakobi and Ebanks Blake very tight together, and the Everton markers are trying to get close to him, but they can't. They're moving him around.
In comes a big corner kick from O'Hara, headed away by Distan. Wolves could knock this one back in again. Guediora, but Everton clear. And now the race is on just down below us on this right-hand side. Long ball forward, looking for Beckford to make the run. In comes Stearman and just nudges it out of play for an Everton throw. 1-0 to Everton.
Well, there's always that threat, Mike, as they got as a defending Everton. Beckford's pace and movement on the shoulders of the two centre-backs, and you know that's the difference, I think, at the moment. As hard as Ebanks Blake and Fletcher are working between them, they've Distan and Jagielka are quicker than the two Wolves centre-backs, and they're managing to get on the ball.
Well, that was just about a legal throw from Neville, now swept in from the full-back Hibbert. Oh, Beckford got his head to it, but it's gone wide of Hennessy's goal. And this game, slightly similar pattern to last week, because Wolves, who went into the game at Newcastle in good form, did okay early on, and then Hennessy made a mistake and they went behind and ended up losing the game 4-1, although nevertheless at 3-1 Fletcher missed a great chance to make it 3-2, so I'm not sure the 4-1 necessarily was a reflection overall of that, in the end, big defeat for Wolves. So they have to get something here today. O'Hara jumping and missing the ball inside the centre circle. Now the whistle's gone from Phil Dowd and Wolves have the free kick.
I think just picking up on that game last week for Wolves, I think they had 6 international players, and I know every team has international players, but a team like Wolves, it does make a big difference, because generally the 6 that go away are the 6 that tend to play in all the games. So I think sometimes that can give a bigger problem to the smaller teams than the bigger ones.
Now Jarvis, an international player of course now, as Nigel was saying, playing at Molineux for the first time since he became an England player, coming on against Ghana as a substitute. Ella Kobe, halfway inside the Everton half. Wolves 0, Everton 1 on 5 Live. Beckford has got the goal after 21 minutes. Wolves lose their way down this near side. The intention was right from Ella Kobe, and it's going to be an Everton throw. And I would imagine that David Moyes will try and keep these 11 on the pitch as long as he possibly can. No sort of disrespect, but he doesn't have a lot on the bench apart from Anachibi, who's by a mile the most experienced player, and the goalkeeper too, of course, Slovakian. It's a throw to Wolves, trailing 1-0. Mick McCarthy scratches his head and hopes his team can claw their way back into this game. It's Ella Kobe, a little bit of elevation, but it'll be cleared easily by Jagielka at the back for Everton. Now stabbed back by Stearman. Jagielka, Fletcher penalised for jumping all over Jagielka, and the free kick is given to Everton.
You know, we talk a lot about the teams. I think the referee's done well today so far without putting a curse on him. He's in and around it. He's getting that body around the pitch, and he's making some very good decisions so far.
Aidy Boothroyd with us here. You had a little spell at West Brom, didn't you? The enemy.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Are you allowed in here?
Well, they won't even remember by then. That was not so long ago, about 5 or 6 years ago. That was I was head of the youth for a little spell there and helped set up their academy.
But they're not holding that against you, obviously.
No,
welcome back to but they are the big rivals, aren't they?
They're
West
massive
Brom
rivals. I think they play each other coming up quite soon, in a couple of weeks, I believe.
Long ball forward from Osman, flicked on. Some work here for Hennessy to do, and he makes the save. Well, they've got they've got West Brom here. They've got Fulham, West Brom and Blackburn. They're the 3 home games. I mean, what fantastic games, really, in the scrap at the bottom, all to come.
Yeah, they are big games.
Yeah. 1-0 to Everton, who of course have their own ambition to finish above Liverpool. No greater motivation than that for them. And Beckford scored the goal here, and now it's Osman who's playing in this position just behind Beckford, and he made the goal, getting in the cross from the right. It's Billy Leninov. Should have found Hibbert, really didn't. Ella Kobe clears, and now it's Fletcher trying to turn Jagielka. Jagielka brings him to the touchline and does well, the defender. Fletcher, and Jagielka gets his challenge in, and Neville will clear for Everton. Into the Wolves half. Berra doesn't get the interception in first time. Allows Osman to take the ball. Osman now needing a bit of support. Turning well down the Everton right. In comes a dangerous cross. Header from Beckford. Kept down by Hennessy. Great cross came in. Took out the defender, Stearman, and Beckford's header was saved by Hennessy. Could so easily have been 2-0 to Everton. In comes another cross, and Wolves, desperate to get the ball down, have conceded a free kick.
It's that area of the pitch again, Mike. It's that sort of just outside the box, on the left back area, right hand side of midfield area there. Osman's drifted wide again, got the better of Bearer on that occasion, whipped in a lovely cross, and Beckford will be disappointed he didn't score there. I think that's a better chance than the first one. Yep. Hennessy's managed to make the save that time.
Well, I wonder whether we'll be looking back at that moment later in the game, because that really could and so easily should have been 2-0 to Everton. It's 1-0, and the free kick, though, still the danger not clear yet. Baines, of course, can take great free kicks. He's come across, maybe with his left foot. Osman's there as well. Osman steps away. Baines swings it in. Flicked header on by Wolves defender, was it? No.
I think it was.
Yes, they're appealing for the corner, but it's not given. It's a goal kick. I thought initially that was a Wolves flick, but
it was a Wolves. He's got it wrong, Phil. There, I told you he wasn't having a very good game, didn't I? But it's a great in-swinging free kick. When they come in like that, with that elevation and that velocity, coming in at pace there, it's a very difficult ball to defend. And as we saw, it only takes a little nick and it's going to cause a problem.
Yeah, well, we just had a replay of that, and it was Berra, who, the Scottish international, who should have conceded a corner, but it's not given, and Hennessy clears. Everton could easily be 2-0 up now. They're leading 1-0, and now Hibbert, the Everton right back in the sunshine away to our left, clears. And, well, Wolves need to find another gear here. Trailing 1-0. Ella Kobe with the throw-in, the left back. Last time I sat in this seat, it was a freezing day. Fernando Torres scored 2 goals. Long time ago for Liverpool, 11 weeks ago today. Philip Neville clears downfield, and out comes Hennessy, and Hennessy will find touch. Almost finds us in the Billy Wright stand here, and that's a throw to Everton.
Well, it's certainly a lovely day, Mike. You said about not having the coat on, but I think the string vest and the handkerchief on the head's a little bit too much.
This is really, Aidy, this is really good away football from Everton, isn't it?
Well, they've weathered a storm, haven't they?
Yeah, there's a real discipline about them so far, and a control. Leading 1-0, David Moyes will be disappointed it's not 2. They're building on the edge of the Wolves area. Hibbert with a fine ball for Baines, just 10 yards inside the Wolves half. Baines, Billy Ledenoff ran onto it, hoping that Beckford would be there. Out comes the Welsh international, Hennessy, in the Wolves goal, and we've played 34 minutes of the first half. Very interesting situation here with Everton leading, and Wolves don't claim the ball in midfield. They're a bit short at the moment. Osman now strikes it too strong, I think, to the far side towards Beckford, and it's worth just reiterating once more that Everton are without an entire midfield, and more really. They're without Coleman, Arteta, Cahill, Fellaini, Rodwell and Sahar, and of course Pienaar left the club during the window, went to Spurs, so they're really well short. But this is good stuff under David Moyes so far. Wolves head the ball on, looking for Ebanks-Blake. Out comes Howard with a headed clearance. He may drop to Guardiola. Instead now it's O'Hara. Easy to spot him without the number on the shirt. O'Hara with a left-footed strike, just wide. Oh, it's got a deflection. Distan, I think, threw himself at it. It's a Wolves corner.
He was ghosting in there, Ebanks-Blake. He was really coming in, be disappointed with that, because if he'd have slid in, he might have got a touch to that one.
Wolves 0, Everton 1 on 5 Live. It's a Wolves corner at the sunny end of the stadium here at Molineux. Phil Neville organising his defenders. In comes the Wolves corner to the near post. It'll come back again to Jarvis, who initially took that corner. And it goes again to the far post. Hasn't been claimed yet. Real scramble. Ebanks-Blake almost got in there. Everton now clear. Downfield to Beckford, who's all on his own. Beckford, Nick McCarthy shakes his fist. Beckford now taking on the Wolves central defenders. Support arriving from midfield, and then he just drags a shot wide, and young Gay, I think, was hoping over on that left-hand side that Beckford might have spotted him.
Well, he's going mad, is Mick, and quite rightly so. He's 2 centre-backs there, got the deck chairs out, watching the game, and Beckford's drifted in between them and picked up the ball. He was very, very cross about that, but that's what you want when you're attacking. You have to defend very, very well. Every single time you attack, you've got to defend well, because a team like this, or any team, will expose you if you're ball watching.
Nobody knows more about playing centre-back either than Mick McCarthy, of course. I think he described some of the defending last week as being Keystone Cops, and it undid Wolves, and now they're a goal down in this game. They could easily be 2 down, and O'Hara now, the loan signing from Spurs, finds Jarvis. Jarvis at the source of most of Wolves' best things, and then he runs the ball out of play. But you feel, Aidy, that one way back for Wolves here today is going to be to feed Jarvis, isn't it?
I do. I think this side of the pitch is becoming key in the game for Ella Colby at left back and Bearer. The way that Osman's drifting in there, and the way that on the other side that they're getting the ball to feet slightly differently, getting the ball to Jarvis's feet, who's getting at Hibbert. They see that as a way in. But as the game is coming to the end of the first half, what I think is happening is that because of the pace of Beckford, it's stretching Wolves. The back four are dropping off, and the midfield players are starting to pick it up. Billy Adinov coming off the line and just overloading them in midfield.
It's Wolves' first appearance here at Molineux since that 3-3 against Spurs, when Jermaine Defoe got a couple of goals, and now Baines is raiding down the left-hand side. Tackle comes in. Wolves appealed for the goal kick, but it's gone against Guardiola, who made the challenge, and Phil Dowd has signalled an Everton corner. Well, they should have had one before, so I suppose. Or has he given the free kick? No, he's given a free kick.
He's given a free kick.
He's given a free kick, not the corner. Even better than maybe for Baines. And let's just see who's going to go forward for this. Jagielka, Distan stays back. Heitinger's there in the area. Beckford stands on the 6-yard line. 1-0 to Everton. Leighton Baines often produces really good delivery. And here he comes now with his left-footed ball into the area. Everybody's missed it. And in the end, a great play from Hennessy. As Beckford picks up the loose ball, Neville drives it out. Oh, what a goal from Philip Neville. Absolute scorcher. What a collector's item from the veteran. Philip Neville goes to the Wolves fans for some reason to celebrate. Punches the goal. He does a Tim Cahill and punches the corner flag. But it's a real uphill task now for Wolves. They're trailing 2-0.
Well, it's an unnecessary free kick. He'll be disappointed with that's come in. I think he got a touch on the Wolves player. Again, a great whipped-in ball. Hennessy's done very, very well to get a touch to it. Got it away from the 6-yard box. Wasn't cleared correctly. And Phil Neville there, he's hit another terrific strike. He's got one or two of them in his career. You know, it's a very, very difficult angle, but there's no way that's not going in. Straight into the top corner.
Well, by the way, no suggestion that he was emulating his brother by going to the opposition fans. There was nothing, as the long ball is played forward, and Gay's onside here for Everton. Can finish it off here, Gay. Hennessy made half a save. Yes, he's made a good enough save to produce the corner kick. That was a chance to make it 3-0. And when you think of the chance that Beckford had as well, we could be looking at a 4-0 here, and it's not even half-time.
Well, and you would say overall it's been 50-50.
Yeah.
The great start from Wolves, missing Doyle, of course. Elected to go with a 4-4-2, but Everton are getting stronger as the half's wearing on.
In the Black Country, a little bit black at the moment for Wolves, trailing 2-0 here after a very promising start. And Philip Neville, by the way, the only reason he ran towards those Wolves fans was that he wanted to do a Tim Cahill and punch the corner flag in his excitement. And now he retreats, and now, in fact, he's once more on the edge of the Wolves penalty area, because this is a corner kick. And it'll be taken by Magai Gay, the French under-21 international. In goes the corner kick. Hennessy gets a fist to it. O'Hara to clear for Wolves. Only Ebanks Blake downfield. Across comes Distan, who will send the ball back to the American Tim Howard. Well, really, it's an astonishing scoreline in many ways, because Wolves began very brightly and Everton were a bit slow to get into it, but now they lead 2-0. And in fact, Aidy could have an even bigger lead.
Well, and again, Osman's got free there, just on that last corner. Osman's got free. It's a really important period of the game now, this for Wolves. They've got to keep the fullbacks at home. They've got to be solid. Make sure they don't concede. Get into half-time as it is now. Or maybe nick a goal.
Beckford's very lively now. Wolves have been caught offside. And it's a free kick to Everton. And Mick McCarthy will really have some sorting out to do soon during half-time. You really feel that if Wolves are to stay in the Premier League, then they have to maximise this place, Molineux, where, of course, this season they've beaten the likes of Manchester United, Manchester City and Chelsea. They've had 7 wins at home this season, but they're trailing here 2-0 to Everton. Beckford on the charge once more. Elakobi's touch, and Everton threatening here.
They're isolating Elakobi now, it looks like. They've seen where they're getting some joy down this left-hand side, their right-hand side. Whether it's Osman pulling off into this area, or whether it's Beckford making runs down the side. Even Gay coming all the way across. But they've got to defend this. They've got to be strong now, Wolves. Get to half-time, regroup and come out fighting.
Corner kick. Gay to take it. And it's flicked away by one of the Wolves defenders to the far side of the field. Osman will keep it in. Wolves 0, Everton 2. Osman taking on the defenders. Could get a cross in here. Over Hennessy, headed away by Fletcher. Wasn't too sure. And it's another corner to Everton now, down this near side of the field. 2-0 they lead. Beckford and Neville. Philip Neville, last goal, April 2008 against Aston Villa. Thanks, Nigel. So 3 years exactly since we had a goal from Philip Neville. And how important could that be in terms of the relegation scene? Corner kick to Everton. Billy Adderley now challenging Foley. The ball is headed away to the far side of the field. Everton really doing well here for their manager and their supporters. Depleted resources, of course. Philip Neville, there's the Everton fans over on the far side, giving him a great welcome, Philip Neville, as he receives the ball and prepares to take an Everton throw-in as we move into the last 2 or 3 minutes of the first half. Wolves 0, Everton 2. Everton on a good little mini run at the moment. Baines with a ball in which was too high for Billy Adderley. Wolves are not clearing. Now Foley. Downfield. Aim towards Fletcher, but Distin will get there first. And Distin once more sends the ball back again to Howard, who hasn't had a great deal to do, really, to be fair, in that Everton goal in the last half an hour or so.
No, they're certainly up to Everton. They've been their stronger side the last 15 minutes after Wolves being the stronger side early on in the game. But I think it's, to me, looking at it, the centre-backs of Wolves dealing with the forward line of Everton, they're stronger at the moment. They're asking them more questions. Wolves, Ebanks, Blake and Fletcher working very, very hard for the team. But I just wonder whether at half-time Mick changes it around a little bit. Maybe sticks one up front and get one ghosted into a pocket, or maybe trying to run beyond to try and give them more problems.
Last player, of course, he would have wanted to lose for this run-in would have been Kevin Doyle, who's got so many vital goals for him. Galling, I suppose, club against country and all that, to lose him on international duty. But Doyle's out for the rest of the season, and Wolves are really chasing the game now. O'Hara does well. Can they do something in the last minute or so here to pull one back before half-time? Ebanks Blake to O'Hara once more. Don't forget the Grand National, of course, coming up later on 5 Live as Wolves turn on the edge of the area. Henry, and then shot driven in wide. And of course, in the football, our commentary match at 3 o'clock will be at the other end of the table, Manchester United against Fulham. And this, of course, very much at the other end with Wolves second from bottom at the moment. We'll never know, of course, with Wayne Rooney. I just wondered whether he would have played today anyway, in that, whether he would have started against Fulham. We'll never know the answer to that, but with the Chelsea game 3 days away, you know, he might not have played. In many ways, I suppose the appeal was more about what's happening next weekend against Manchester City in the semi-final. Here goes Billy Adderley now for Everton, threatening to score a third. What a third as well! Fantastic left-footed drive, and Hennessy doesn't see it. And this has been a storming first half for the men from Merseyside. Slow to start, 3 goals. They might have even had more, and Billy Adderley, the Russian, punches the air, runs to the Everton fans, 3-0, and perhaps game over.
Well, it's going to be a long way back now for Wolves. There's a bit of uncertainty there from the Wolves. O'Hara and Ella Colby and Billy Adderley, where he is there, he must be 30 yards out. Is it with his left foot? It's curled into out, gone right into the top corner. Hennessy's got no chance with that, and this really is an uphill task now for Mick.
Well, the game never ceases to amaze you. I came here today thinking maybe a draw, because Everton are specialists at draws. They drew the last time they met her in the season. Everton all out of sorts in terms of people being available. They've young players on the bench from the youth team. And in fact, Aidy, if it stays like this, then those young players from the youth team, actually, if later in the game, if they're 3-0 up, that's not a bad cushion to bring them into, is it?
I think sometimes your weakness can be a strength, and I think Everton are certainly galvanised by the players that they're missing. And you know, you look at the first 15 minutes, you would have said that Everton would have had it all on to contain Wolves today, but here we are, coming up to half-time, and Wolves have, I think, in many ways, you look at Wolves, they're missing Doyle, they've gone with the 2 up front, they've tried to do something a bit different, and they've had chances, but the quality of finishing from Everton has been absolutely terrific.
It's almost half-time as Wolves tidy up, and this time last week, before Wolves went into the Newcastle game, they were pretty much the form team at the bottom. But 4-1 defeat last week, 3-0 now at half-time. And now Wolves with Foley over on the right-hand side of the field. Well, Mick McCarthy's one of the most experienced managers in the business. I don't know what words he will find to shake them up at half-time.
Well, it's certainly an awkward one, Mike, because we know how tight it is down there. The goal difference, I think, is going to be important as well. Do you go for it as a manager? Do you go and try and get back into the game? or do you say, OK, well, let's see if we can keep it solid, don't let Everton score again and maybe nick one, or do you go all out to try and get a 3-3? I mean, they've come back before. I think 3 times they've come back, Wolves, where they've been down from losing positions to win. But this is different. I don't think they've come back from 3-0, but we never know.
Well, this is a chance for them. This could be the last kick of the first half. Extraordinary first half in a way. Jamie O'Hara is going to take a free kick for them, left-footed, on the edge of the Everton penalty area.
And they've got men over. They've got men over at the far. Jarvis and Fletcher both ghosting, looking to get round the back. I think Jarvis is looking to get round the back here of Distan.
Here comes Jamie O'Hara. Oh, it's too high and wide. And it was the last kick of the... And in fact, in many ways, it sort of summed up that first half. There are lots of boos from the Wolves fans around us. Just a quick final thought from you, Aidy. I mean, you just couldn't see this one coming, could you?
No, you couldn't. I mean, they started so well, Wolves. They were a better team by a long way. Everton looked like they were taking a little bit of time to get going, not used to playing at this time of the day. And then all of a sudden we get the first real attack, I think, from Everton, a cross and a header from Beckford. Rocks Wolves a little bit. They come back, but then Everton take advantage of the game stretching a little bit, the midfield area. And Beckford, I think, has run riot in that first half towards the end.
Well, none of the goals have been scruffy ones either. As we go back to Mark Chapman, the 3 goals from Beckford, from Neville, from Billy Ledinoff, and the other final thought is that they could easily have had 2 others as well, Beckford and Gay. The half-time score here, Wolves 0, Everton 3.
Thank you to Mike and to Aidy and to Nigel as well. Stood here in the parade ring at Aintree in the sunshine as the horses for the first race. That's the Mersey Novices Hurdle are paraded past us. John Aldridge is next to me. I won't tell the listeners how you reacted to me telling everybody, for me telling you that Everton were 3-0 up. First race, what's your tip?
I've looked at a couple of horses. Barry Geraghty's a friend of mine. And he's on Spirit Sun, but I'm going against him. I'm going to go on the favourite, Sam Winner. Ruby Walsh is on it. There's a couple of horses pulled out, so the odds have shortened. But I just had to win in the charity.
Sam Winner.
So I'm playing with the Lavdukes' money at the moment.
So you won in the charity race as well. You're off to a flyer. So as you are off to a flyer, what's your national tip?
I quite like Quince, but I have to say I've always been doing AP. Tony for the last few years, and hopefully it's like waiting for a bus. They all come at once. Now he's got his first one in, so I'm going to do him as well. I'm going to have a couple of bets on the Nash.
A lot of people have been mentioning Quince, and actually AP McCoy on 5 Live last night said Richard Johnson is now the best jockey never to have won the National, so I don't know whether that's maybe had an effect. Let's talk football with you as you hear. Manchester United could go 10 clear this afternoon if they beat Fulham. Do you think they're uncatchable?
Yeah, I do. Even though Wayne Rooney is going to be out for a couple of days, they've got more than enough in cover. Fernandes, I think, is a terrific player for them. I thought there was a boxing match starting there for a minute. Yeah, so I do think they're in pole position, and they've been there, seen it and done it before, and I can't see anyone catching them, in all honesty.
Everybody's had their say on Wayne Rooney, but what I'm intrigued to find out from you is the feeling immediately that you have straight after the ball is in the back there. Once you scored that goal, what's your first feeling?
Wayne's brought up in many respects in the same sort of environment as I was in Liverpool. You've got to fight your corner. You can't be bullied, and he's got a big fighting spirit within himself and a fire in his belly, and it's hard to take that out of him. And when you've got a camera stuck down your throat when you score a goal, and a lot of people have been talking negatively about you can easily react. So I think the cameras shouldn't be there, in all honesty. It's unfortunate for him. I think it's very, very hard to take for him as well. But he's top draw. He's a fantastic player. But everyone's on top of you nowadays in football. You can't move.
Could you just tell me as well about Fernando Torres? I was at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday, and he looked bereft and he looked isolated.
Yeah, I think we had the best days of him. I don't think he's going
to
win, but I do, yeah. I've been saying that for some time. 2 years ago, he was a tremendous player. Since then, I've been watching him home and away in 10 games, and he's just flitted away into obscurity. And I think the injuries he's had just took the toll on him. We've seen that before with other players, and obviously he's drained the confidence. But I just cannot see him getting back to what he was 2 years ago. and the business that Liverpool did, getting Suarez in and getting Andy Carroll in, is absolutely fantastic. It is like winning the lottery and the national together, I think.
I know you've got all sorts of bits and bobs to do, and your missus is here as well, so we'll let you go. So Quins or don't push it, yeah?
Yeah, but don't take any notice of me.
Well, you won the charity race, so that's what I'm going for from now on.
So I hope so, Mark. It's a great occasion for the city, you know. Very proud of being born in Liverpool, and to see this grow to the magnitude of what it is over the years is phenomenal. Great atmosphere here, the sun's out, everyone's enjoying a great day, and hopefully Liverpool win on Monday as well. Cheers, mate.
You've just ruined it there. John, thank you very much. All right, take care. John Aldridge there. Cornelius Lycett, Adrian Maguire, the trainer, both alongside me. We'll go to Adrian in a second. He's just talking to John at the moment. Cornelius.
Well, the news is who is going to be favourite. We were talking last night about people what they bet
People
on.
Bet on who
will be
is going to be the favourite.
No, don't push it. It was generally thought would probably be favourite, but there has been a mountain of money. Can you have a mountain of money? You can have a river of money, certainly a sea of money, for Silver by Nature. This is the horse trained by Peter Scudamore and his partner Lucinda Russell, close to Perth in Scotland. It'll be the first Scottish trained winner since 1979. It's got good form, but would he actually like the drying ground here? I'll tell you what, we're just going to check on the latest betting. What is Silver by Nature at the moment?
Well, you can still get Silver by Nature at 18 to 1, Cornelius, if you shop around. These are the best prices available. Don't push it at 10 to 1. The Midnight Club at 11 to 1. 14 to 1, What a Friend, Backstage and Oscar Time. 16 to 1, Bala Briggs. And at 18 to 1, Silver by Nature and Quins. And it's 20 to 1 or more the rest.
And have you got Golden Kite there?
Golden Kite, Cornelius. I like the way that you spring these things on me, and when I just
there is a reason.
Yes, okay. Well, I can tell you that Golden Kite, as I go through my racing post, is right down the bottom. No, it's 50 to 1. You can get 50 to 1 on Golden Kite. How slick was that?
Well done, Rob. Thank you very much. 50 to 1, Golden Kite. Adrian Maguire, your horse.
Yeah, doesn't make any difference to me or the horse. I think conditions, the ground will suit. Nice lightweight, very economical, clever jumper. 4.5 mile. He's a horse that would gallop all day. So I think what Willie Mullins would say about the favourite is that he's hopeful, and I think I can say the same.
It's your first ever runner in Britain, yeah? How does it work that your first ever runner goes in the Grand National?
I've always said that I wouldn't like to just turn up at Cheltenham or anywhere just to make the numbers up, and we were the last horse to get into the National, and his owner is a very lucky man and a very clever man, and he's had his mind set on this for quite a while, and I'm happy to be here.
And Adrian, so many people remember you riding in the Grand National. I think you were third, you were fourth, you were fifth as well. How different to be standing here as a trainer now rather than the hugely popular jockey you were in the 90s?
To be honest, Cornelius, I'm more nervous. It wasn't really nerves, it was the adrenaline that would start pumping, coming near the National or any big race. But I'd be more nervous now when they walk out of the parade ring, because I'm not in charge of anything. It's out of my hands.
I was going to say, is it a control thing?
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. Even to, the last thing, putting the saddle on, fixing the bridle, I'll do it. But when you let go of them to walk out of the parade ring, you have no control whatsoever what's going to happen.
Well, do you shout at the jockey?
No.
Do you have lots of instructions?
There's not really much I can say. I told them, one thing is you don't want to be going too long at the chair. It's wide enough without doing that. Sit tight, canal turn, horses turn sharp and quick, and it's play it by ear, and it's fine. You find your own way around.
Adrian, we wish you luck this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us on 5 Live Sport.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hope the nerves are all right for you during the course of the race. Adrian Maguire, his first ever runner in Britain. Golden Kite, as Rob Nothman said, that's 50 to 1 at the moment if you want to have a punt on Golden Kite. It's 1:42. This is BBC Radio 5 live from Aintree this afternoon. Full commentary of the Grand National from 4:15, and a news update now comes from Tom Sanders.
Online at bbc.co.uk/5live.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Police in Northern Ireland say a van left under a bridge on the main Belfast to Dublin road contained a sophisticated and substantial bomb which could have caused huge devastation and loss of life. The vehicle was abandoned near Newry in County Down on Thursday. Detectives think the explosives, which were packed inside a wheelie bin, could have been used in an attack on a town centre. The Ministry of Defence says a soldier who was injured by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan last year has died at home in Scotland. Colour Sergeant Alan Cameron was from the 1st Battalion Scots Guards. John Prescott, the former Deputy Prime Minister, says the government should block News Corporation's proposed takeover of B-Sky B while police investigate claims of phone hacking at the News of the World. Yesterday, the paper's owners apologised and offered compensation to some public figures who were affected. Dutch State TV is reporting that at least 2 people have been killed and several injured in a shooting in the Netherlands. It happened at a shopping centre in the west of the country. And a Royal Navy serviceman is being questioned by police over a fatal shooting on board a nuclear submarine in Southampton. 1 crew member was killed and another is in a stable condition in hospital. And with the travel news, here's Louise Pepper.
Starting in Cheshire, 2 lanes are blocked on the M6 northbound at junction 16 for Crewe due to an accident. Queues already back to junction 15 for Stoke. And actually, once you're past that, we've had problems in the last hour or so for the M6. It's taking over half an hour just to do the stretch from junction 17 at Sandbach up towards Knutsford at junction 19, even though there's been no incidents along that stretch. That's particularly slow at the moment. Merseyside, M57 heavy northbound, junction 6 at Kirkby up to Switch Island at junction 7. So everyone heads on to the A59 down to Aintree in time for the Grand National. Of course, the A59 queuing both ways, but the A59 will be closed between the Black Bull and Aintree station from 4 until 7 this afternoon. Lincolnshire, 2 lanes closed on the M180 westbound between junction 3 for Scunthorpe and Woodhouse at junction 2 due to an overturned caravan. In Oxfordshire, there's 1 lane closed on the M40 northbound between Brackley at junction 10 and Banbury at junction 11 following an accident. Delays through there. And in Northamptonshire, the A43 is closed both ways between Bullock and Blatherwick due to a serious accident. The air ambulance is at the scene. Louise Pepper, 5 Live Travel.
Live from Aintree, the Grand National on BBC Radio 5 Live.
First race of the afternoon, the Mersey Novices hurdle race is underway. Cornelius, who are we looking out for?
An important 2.5 mile race. The Silver by Nature stable represented by Bold Sir Brian. Q Card is a top young hurdler. So too is Drill Sergeant. Rock on Ruby and Spirit Sun and Sam Winner will all have big supporters. Rebel Rebellion and Recession Proof are non-runners and they're racing, aren't they?
They are. John Aldridge tells me Sam Winner is the one to watch. It's all over to you, John Hunt.
Well, Mark, he won't have to look too far because Sam Winner's already in front here, leading this field on a glorious afternoon. And Aintree is completely packed out. They've jumped 2 of their 11 flights. Luke Harvey, of course, with me here again in the commentary box. Luke, what a stunning day. I just hope we can convey some of the excitement as the day builds.
Absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Perfect day for horse racing. A huge crowd here. Interesting, we've seen in contrasting sort of circumstances which horses come on from Cheltenham and how they've performed over these last 3 days. And Q Card, who's a little bit disappointed at Cheltenham, is very, very keen here, John.
Yep, well, he can race like that sometimes, but Q Card, nevertheless, Rob Noffman, as they jumped away, was very much on punters' thoughts.
Q Card, the favourite, John, at 5-2, Spirit Sun at 3-1, Sam Winner 7-2, and Rock on Ruby at 4-1.
They're jumping now, flight number 3, and Rock on Ruby made a mistake there. It was a bad one. He was really down on his haunches there, and he now needs to recover as flight number 4 is right ahead of them. Sam Winner and Spirit Sun in second place. Those two were virtually joined by Drive Time, who's up on the wide outside. And these then in turn followed by Rock on Ruby and Q Cart towards the outside. With these is Maringo Bay as they take the next flight. Towards the inside is one of the outsiders, Drill Sergeant, and Drill Sergeant is then followed through by the backmarkers, who are Stormbrigg and Bold Sir Brian. And that is what Liverpool thinks of the first race. They come right past us. I doubt, Luke, the cheer will be bigger in the National itself, to be honest.
Absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Sam Winner just lobbing along, Ruby Walsh in front. If it were a beauty contest for horses, Spirit Sun, the horse in second, would be an absolute shoo-in. He's the most gorgeous looking horse. He's travelling along really nicely at Barragouty, right down the inner.
Isn't it interesting with Sam Winner? He came from miles back at Cheltenham, but over a different distance today, different tactics employed.
Yeah, they've decided to let him scoot along. He did just stay on at the same pace that day, but Ruby, he's a master tactician, isn't he? Look, he just seems slowing the race up a little bit, and no doubt once he's jumped this hurdle here, he'll just quicken up.
They're just into the back straight, and way in the background, already hundreds, if not thousands of people lining the banks alongside the Grand National fences, already having secured their positions for the big race later on. But here, back on the hurdles track here at Aintree, it is still Sam Winner from Spirit Sun, and Drive Time around the outside with Drill Sergeant, and Q Card. Luke made a mistake there. What did he do wrong?
Horrible mistake. He stood far too far off the hurdle and landed right in it. He's lucky to be standing.
And he's now just 3 from the back end of the field. He's got Rock on Ruby just ahead of him as they now race towards the next of their flights. Sam Winner continuing to dictate the tempo of this race. Spirit Sun is very anxious not to let him get too far ahead, though. These two, the 1 and 2, as they now turn back towards us here in the grandstand. Drive Time's in behind. In 4th place is Drill Sergeant. He's running a pretty cute race for one at such big odds. Rock on Ruby and Q Card still in there pitching as well. And then comes Bold Sir Brian just a half a length further behind. And Q Card is now being pushed along. The one who's dropped away is Moringo Bay. But Q Card doesn't look to be the winner at this moment in time, Luke.
No, he's struggling. Spirit Sun's the horse I'd love to be on. He's tracking Sam Winner now. And Barry Garrett's already having a look round for dangers.
Well, they turn now for home. 3 more flights of hurdles left to take. Sam Winner from Spirit Sun. Q Card is now picking up a little bit on the outside together with Stormbrig and Rock on Ruby. And the faller was Drive Time. That was a spectacular fall for Brian Hughes, who will be looking forward to a ride in the National later on. Let's hope he's okay. The second last flight now. Sam Winner's well and truly headed. And it's Spirit Sun who now goes on from Q Card and Rock on Ruby. Sam Winner's dropped away tamely. Spirit Sun is the one, though, stamping his class. He's over the last flight of hurdles in great style from Q Card, who's 6 lengths away. Rock on Ruby, Drill Sergeant and Sam Winner trying to plug on, but they fight for places only as Spirit Sun and Barry Garrity saunter to victory in the most impressive of styles. He's eased down, his head in his chest. He's 12 lengths clear at the line. So impressive. Spirit Sun wins from Q Card. Rock on Ruby a distant third with Drill Sergeant next. And then came Stormbrig and Sam Winner, who was ultimately disappointing. Bold Sir Brian struggles home, and so too does Moringo Bay. So, on a high-class racing day, Barry Garrity and trainer Nicky Henderson team up there with Spirit Sun, the winner of our opening race. Pleased to report jockey Brian Hughes is on his feet. But as for winning informed jockeys, Barry Garrity, of course, will ride Au Noir de Somoza a little bit later on in the John Smith's Grand National. The starting prices are to hand. Spirit Sun, what a popular winner as well. 3-1 second favourite, beats Q Card, the 5-2 favourite, and Rock on Ruby 9-2. Mark, back to you. That was a really classy winner.
It was, and that was the other horse that John Aldridge mentioned in our little chat. I'm sure Peter and Asma will be quite disappointed that Drive Time fell. This is BBC Radio 5 Live, full commentary of the Grand National from 4:15. All the build-up as well from 3:45 after you've heard the first half of Manchester United against Fulham. But now we're going back to Molineux, and Wolves have got a real fight on their hands. Nigel Adderley.
Yes, they still trail Everton by 3-0. We played 2 minutes in the second half at Molineux, and Mick McCarthy has responded with a change, and perhaps surprisingly it's Sylvain Ebanks-Blake who has gone off. Maybe there's an injury there for Wolves number 9, and Michael Kitely has come on to play his first game at Molineux since injury back in November 2009. As Everton try to build on the far side, John Heitinger with a long ball over the top, looking for the pace of Jermaine Beckford, and the ball's gone behind for a goal kick. And we were discussing at half-time, Eddie Boothroyd, what sort of team talk it may have been for Mick McCarthy. Do you think the crockery may have been flying around?
Possibly. I think they'll be disappointed because, as we've seen in results before and games before with Wolves at home, they can beat anybody when they're at it and they're on the day. And I thought they started really well, but they got almost punched and couldn't cope with it, and sort of felt sorry for themselves a little bit. But it's a very positive start in terms of formation. He's gone with Carl Henry sitting in the midfield role, and he's gone 3 with Kitely just behind the 2. Well, what's a 4-1-3-2 formation, so they're looking to try and overload Everton in the midfield, but it's a very attacking formation. Everton, on the other hand, have changed ever so slightly. Osman's moved out to the left, and Magay is the debutant today. He's moved just behind Beckford, but Everton are looking for those long balls in behind Beckford to try and stretch Wolves again, to play through them.
And if you've just joined us on 5 Live Sport, Everton lead here by 3 goals to 0. Jermaine Beckford, Phil Neville, and Billy Netdinov all scoring in the first half. Phil Neville's first goal for 3 years, an absolute stormer from the edge of the penalty area. Billy Netdinov then scored from even further out, following the early header from Jermaine Beckford. And Wolves completely stunned by that. They were booed off at half-time, and there were stunned faces all around this stadium during the interval, as Wolves fans who came here hoping to see their team move out of the relegation zone today are now facing another damaging defeat. And as things stand, they will stay very firmly in the bottom 3, one off the bottom, only Wigan beneath them, and they travel to Chelsea today. There'll be news of that game later on. Our commentary, Manchester United, of course, playing Fulham, and tomorrow Villa against Newcastle at 4. On Monday it's Manchester City travelling to Liverpool at 8 o'clock. So a busy weekend of sport, a busy weekend of football here on 5 Live, and it's an understatement to say that Wolves need a goal here very quickly. 4 minutes played in the second half. They trail Everton by 3 goals to 0. O'Hara with the ball into the area, headed away by Distan. Jarvis picks up the loose ball, maybe with the use of an arm, whips it into the penalty area, headed away at the near post by Hibbert, and now Elakobi will win the ball back for Wolves. And much of the second half has been played inside the Everton half, just like much of the opening stages of the first half. Wolves then couldn't capitalise on their dominance, but they need a goal here very soon. Here's Foley now, down the right-hand side, comes in field to find O'Hara. Now Fletcher coming deep, and he goes down. The foul challenge from Heitinga, and this a Wolves free kick, slightly right of centre, around 35 yards from goal.
Yeah, I think it'll be O'Hara that steps alongside this, and Carl Henry there. But you're right, it's just as the first half started, it was all Wolves, so they need a goal, there's no doubt about that. And you never know, this crowd, when the team is doing well, they're terrific. The Molineux faithful can get behind them, then anything is possible, but it's going to be a big ask, there's no doubt about that.
Well, we saw Newcastle come from 4 goals down at half-time to draw with Arsenal in the Premier League already this season, so it can happen. But of course, David Moyes, currently stood inside the Everton technical area, will be praying it doesn't, and he'll also be praying this 11 can stay fit, because beneath the starting 11 for Everton today, there's not a huge amount beneath it. The free kick's curled in low by Guardiola, it strikes Leighton Baines, and it's cleared away down this near side. There's a foul on Billy Netdinov. Well, it looked like a foul, and it looked like Phil Dowd had given the free kick.
Good refereeing that, good refereeing.
But in the end he doesn't give anything, and now Billy Netdinov fouls Guardiola, and this will be a free kick and the first yellow card.
Bit of professionalism there from one of the Everton players. Not quite sure who it was to name and shame him, but he's just tried to get the free kick to relieve a little bit of pressure. Phil Dowd's having none of it, and in his frustration, I think Leighton Baines just caught.
Billy Netdinov it was.
Oh, sorry, he's just caught the Wolves wide player there, Guardiola, and he's free kick in swinging Jamie O'Hara just outside the box.
Wolves need something to happen here very, very quickly. 52 minutes played, they trail by 3 goals to 0. O'Hara's ball into the area, flicked on by Henry. Jarvis will try and pick the ball up, he believes it struck the arm of Hibbert, nothing given. Now Fletcher drives the ball into the penalty area, it hits Hibbert again and goes behind for a corner, but Wolves there are convinced they should have had a penalty. It was struck by Jarvis, it struck Hibbert on the arm and then the elbow, but his face was facing away from the ball, although his arm was raised there inside the area. Jarvis with the corner, high into the penalty area, headed away decisively by Distan. Now Kitely, wide on the left-hand side for Wolves. Further wide towards Jarvis, who goes beyond Osman, overruns the pass, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, again, they've got to make the most of these. If they're going to get set plays, they've got to use that height advantage and get across the Everton players, and they've got to see if they can get themselves back into this game.
Phil Dowd had a good view of that incident between Jarvis and Hibbert, but said no penalty. It was ball to hand, but as we say, we've seen them given.
Yeah, we have, but I think that's good refereeing again. I think it's as a manager and a player, if you're down 3-0, you'll shout for everything you can and try and get something, but I think he's made the right decision there.
Howard clears downfield, flicked on by Billy Netdinov, and now Beckford finds Osman, And Osman had a key role to play in Everton's performance the longer the first half went on, setting up the first goal and being a real thorn in the side of Wolves, operating down this near side. They're right in the first half. But now Everton give the ball away. Kitely back towards O'Hara and wide towards Jarvis on the far side. But it's all a bit laboured from Wolves. And Everton have the opportunity to get plenty of bodies back behind the ball. And they almost give the ball away. Henry loops it back towards Stearman. Beckford was putting him under pressure, and now Gay will try and win the ball back for Everton, and eventually he's pulled up for a free kick on Alakobi.
Yeah, I think it's important for Wolves, you know, the need to get the fans back on side, and I think it's important that they start being a little bit more penetrative and more incisive with the passing. It's all well and good when teams sit off you and you're 3-0 up, but if you're 3-0 down, you've got to try and get yourself back into it, because, as I've said, you score an early goal, the momentum gets with you, and Everton bench isn't as strong as what it could be today, and there might be something you can get out of the game.
9 minutes played in the second half in the Barclays Premier League on 5 Live Sport. It's Wolves 0, Everton 3. A real first half horror show for Mick McCarthy's men, and they've given the ball away again now. Billy Letdinoff over the top looking for Beckford, and it's into the arms of Hennessy. So quickly the team's for you again. Hennessy in goal for Wolves. The back four: Foley, Stearman, Berra and Alakobi. Jarvis, Henry, O'Hara and Guediora in midfield, with Fletcher now being offered support by Kitely. For Everton, Howard in goal, Hibbert, Distan, Jagielka and Baines, Gay, Heitinger, Neville and Billy Letdinoff, with Osman supporting Beckford. It's been a very fluid Everton formation, and it's been a very successful one for them so far. The goals flying in from long range towards the end of the first half. But if you're a Wolves fan, and maybe a Wolves manager, Aidy, you'll be saying we were backing off so much. I mean, the Wolves central defenders were almost on the ring road for the third goal.
Well, they were, and I think that's key to what Everton have done in this first half, and as the game's going on now. Beckford's pace, they're pushing the Wolves back four back, the two centre halves in particular, and stretching them. So the first time they get the ball, the Everton players, the first thought is a forward pass, either in between the centre back and the full back, or getting in between both centre backs. What that then does is it stretches the play, and then Billy Adinov's coming in off the line and linking with Osman, and Neville sitting and tidying it all up, and then they can get a foothold in the game. And the longer the first half went on, that's what they did, and they're looking to try and do that again.
And we can just hear a general murmur of discontent from the home fans here around Molineux. There's not the raucous atmosphere we had at the start of this game, but Wolves now trying to lift their crowd as O'Hara plays it wide to the far side. Jarvis will sprint and keep the ball in play ahead of Hibbert. He tries to burst into the penalty area. High ball beyond the far post. Everybody had been sucked towards the near post, and the ball bobbles behind for a goal kick, and that murmur of discontent now becomes definite grumbling.
Well, he's done very well, Matt Jarvis. He's got to a lot of balls. He's caused a few problems, but his end product today has not been the quality that we've come to expect because of the way he's been playing, which, of course, made him get that England call-up. He's a top player who's done very well, whose end product isn't as good as it should be today.
10 minutes played in the second half. Everton still lead here by 3-0 as Baines heads the ball away. Henry forced back towards his own goal again, finds Stearman. It's hopefully lobbed over the top, and Everton clear as far as Stearman again, who 15 yards inside his own half has to go all the way back towards Wayne Hennessy once again. A reminder, over on 5 Live Sports Extra today, 5 Live Football League is back. There's full commentary on Millwall against Leeds from 3 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock it's the quarter-finals of the Heineken Cup in Rugby Union, and our featured game is Leinster against Leicester, live from Lansdowne Road. And of course later on tonight, the third round of the US Masters. Chris Evans presenting live from Augusta here on 5 Live from 9 o'clock. Rory McIlroy currently holds a 2-shot lead heading into today's third round. As Baines has a throw in for Everton down this near side, plays the ball back in field towards Heitinger, but Wolves do well to win the ball back with Fletcher. But Everton are doing a very good pressing job, as Aidy said. Wolves are finding no joy whatsoever in the final third as Everton clear the ball away again. Osman, though, can't find Billy Letdinoff, and Stearman plays it back towards Foley, who lobs it forward again. Fletcher flicks the ball on. He was fouled there by Distan in the air, and that will be a free kick to Wolves. We've played, 13 minutes in the second half, Aidy. From a Wolves point of view, it's not happening.
Well, I think we've got a quick free kick on.
Foley plays it into the area, headed away by Jagielka, and Billy Eletinoff will head the ball away for a throw-in.
I was just about to say, that's the sort of thing I think they need. They need to do something a little bit different. Quick free kick, a quick throw, feet and back, and see if they can exploit Everton's centre-backs rather than just putting the ball in. They have to mix it up a little bit, and they're trying to do that, in fairness to them. But I think Heitiger and Neville's positional play, the two holding midfield players, well, similar to the way Real Madrid play and a lot of teams play now, just screening across those front players, they're stopping them get in there.
O'Hara with the throw-in towards Keightley, who turns away from Billy Eletinoff, and it's a poor ball played forward down this near side by Foley. He was hoping O'Hara had made the run on the overlap. O'Hara was stock still, so as a result he plays the ball out of play, and that will be an Everton defensive throw-in, level with the edge of their own penalty area, and it's boomed away by Baines up towards the halfway line. Beckford miscontrols, and Foley has to go all the way back towards Hennessy again. Let's get team news now from around the Premier League, starting at the Stadium of Light, and Peter Slater.
Well, Steve Bruce needed to freshen up his team after a run of 1 point from 21. He's brought back Anua to defence and completely rejigged midfield. El Mohammadi, Malbronk and Richardson replace Henderson, Montari and Sessignon. West Brom, who paid for 40 supporters coaches today, are unchanged. Morrison's on the bench, and their fans are just loving the news from Molineux.
I bet they are, for all sorts of reasons. And you look at the table, Aidy, West Brom on 36 points. They're not quite safe, but they're getting there.
No, I mean, I went to the game against Liverpool and they thoroughly deserved it. And, the West Brom fans were bouncing around like they do, boing. And it was a well-deserved result, I think. And that sort of result at this stage of the season, it gives that belief. And they shut up the table. And it just looks a little bit better on a Monday morning when you see things like that. But getting back to this game, I think that, I know one or two of the natives are getting a little bit restless, and football fans tend to do that. But things in perspective, the last time Phil Neville scored, I think you said, was 2008.
Yep.
And Billy Eletinoff is an absolute worldie. And sometimes that happens in games. These freak things happen, and you've just got to batten down the hatches, get on with it, and just try and get back into the game. And in fairness to Wolves, that's what they're trying to do.
But staying up is all about hitting form at the right time. West Brom, as we say, have hit form at the right time. Wolves are maybe falling out of form.
Well, we've alluded to the game at Newcastle where they got beat 4-1, but it's an international break, and again, results can be different.
Henry with a shot on the edge of the area, and it's tipped away by Tim Howard, and that's the first save the American has had to make today. Cole Henry trying his luck 30 yards out, and Howard made an excellent save.
Good, well that's great, getting a shot on target, getting a cross across the face of the goal, something to lift the crowd, to get that momentum going.
Keightley with the corner, high into the penalty area, nodded down, another great save by Howard. Wolves are appealing for something inside the area. I think it was Guediora who came flying in with the header. It was, and Howard there again made an excellent save.
He did. It was a brilliant save. Straight at him in fairness, but he's had to make the save. A free head. He's done really well to get on the ball there. A great ball in and a lovely header, but he's got to score that. He's got to score that.
Let's get team news now from Stamford Bridge. Chelsea playing Wigan. Mike Sewell.
I can tell you that Chelsea have made 5 changes from the Champions League defeat by Manchester United in midweek. John Terry is rested, so Frank Lampard is the captain. David Luiz comes into defence. Torres is on the bench. Essien also doesn't start. Neither does Basingwa or Zhirkov. Basingwa has a cold. Wigan make 1 change to their team. Diame in for Moses.
Thank you, Mike. Everton about to make a change here. Victor Anichebe will be coming on shortly, but Wolves are trying to build. 61 minutes played. They trail 3-0. It's Jarvis down the left-hand side again. Goes down as Hibbert makes the challenge. And Phil Dowd there, very decisive as the Wolves fans appealed for a penalty. And it's a corner, which Jarvis will take on the far side. And now Beckford, the only Everton player outside their own penalty area, defending this corner. Wolves just beginning maybe to gradually build up a head of steam. Jarvis with the corner, high into the area. Stearman rises at the near post, and it's headed behind by Osman, and that will be a second successive Wolves corner on the far side there left.
A couple of times we've got first contact on the ball, and that's going to be important. Clever, Everton sending Beckford up to send 2 Wolves defenders back. That means now that they can almost get man for man and stop Wolves' dominance.
Jarvis with the corner, flicked on at the near post by Fletcher. It must have got a touch off an Everton player as well, and it's skidded across the 6-yard area and goes behind for a corner now down this near side.
Yeah, it's coming, it's coming, and I think the game needs it as well.
Corner, which will be taken by Jamie O'Hara. We've played now 17 minutes in the second half. Wolves trailing by 3-0. O'Hara's ball into the area, nodded away by Distan towards the far side. Kitely will scamper across in the sunshine and keep the ball in play. A low ball in, volley cleared by Heitinger. Now Foley heads the ball back over the top for Wolves, but it's cleared away by the head of Hibbert, and Everton now will try and break. A back heel from Beckford to release Gay. Wide towards Osman now, operating down the Everton left-hand side in the second half. Overlapping is Baines. Billy Letdenoff waits inside the penalty area in all sorts of space, and the cross went right across the 6-yard area before it's cleared away by Foley, and Everton will get the ball away.
Well, that's the gamble. If Wolves got 7 players in the box there for a corner, one 1v1 at the back, and in the end it's come to nothing. But that's the luxury that Everton have at the moment. They can afford to sit back, defend, get bodies in the line, and just look for that counter-attacking move.
If there is a bright side to this game for Wolves today, they still have Fulham, West Brom and Blackburn to come at Molineux. 3 sides who have very poor away records, so their season is still retrievable from the situation they're in, but they could be bottom tonight if, and it's a big if, Wigan can get something at Chelsea. Everton make their first change, and it's the youngster Gay, who's done reasonably well, had a decent chance to score in the first half, who has gone off, and Victor Anichebe, the most experienced player at the age of 22 in terms of league appearances on the Everton bench, is the man who replaces him.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Wolves today, they're having a go, and that's at this stage. You're 3-0 down at half time. They're having a real go. They're not laying down and dying. They've played the majority of the half in Everton's half, and they're having a go, and that's why they've got themselves in a position where they are right now, where they've got a chance.
Kitely plays a ball in towards the near post, headed away by Phil Neville, and Wolves have a throw-in down this near side. They're right, attacking the south bank in the second half at Molineux, trailing here by 3-0. Beckford, Neville and Billy Letdenoff all scoring in the first half for Everton, and since then, although Wolves have improved, Tim Howard's made a couple of excellent saves. There's no real sign of a dramatic comeback so far in this game, as Baines clears downfield for Everton down this near side, volleyed away by Stearman, and that will be a throw-in down this near side for Everton. Let's get team news now from our commentary game at Old Trafford. Manchester United against Fulham coming up at 3 o'clock. And Simon Brotherton.
Well, all change for Manchester United. Patrice Evra, Nemanja Vidic and Antonio Valencia are the only 3 players who started at Chelsea on Wednesday who are in the starting 11 today. 8 changes. In come Anderson, Berbatov, Smalling, Nani, Scholes, O'Shea, Gibson and Kuszak. Fulham give Loney, Gael, Kakuta a first start. Damien Duff misses the game with a sore Achilles.
Thank you, Simon. Commentary coming up at 3 o'clock here on 5 Live, and of course the Grand National at 4:15, and we'll have another race coming up in a few moments' time, the Mogul Novice Steeplechase at 2:15, as a high ball is played forward again for Everton, flicked on by Anichebe, and Beckford is offside, and he missed anyway. He should have scored. He will have been embarrassed by missing from there, but the flag was up for offside as we go to White Hart Lane and Simon Mann.
3 changes for Spurs today against Stoke City from their Champions League game against Real Madrid. Gallas, Sandro and Genus are on the bench. In come Kabul, Huddleston and Pavlyuchenko. No Aaron Lennon, he's not in the Spurs 18. And 1 change for Stoke. Andy Wilkinson comes in for the injured Higginbottom.
And this week's relegation 6-pointer in the Premier League is at Ewood Park. It's Blackburn against Birmingham. Here's Ian Brown.
Yes, absolutely crucial fixture this in the lower echelons. Blackburn make 2 changes. Nzonzi is suspended, so David Dunn starts against his old club. Pedersen is no longer sick, so he replaces Emerton. Birmingham, they're unchanged, so another start for Kevin Phillips. Still no Zigic or Martins. And everyone here, by the way, is very happy with the score where you are.
It's that sort of day, isn't it? It's that time in the season when games around the country mean so much, and if you are Birmingham fans travelling to Blackburn today, Wigan fans going to Chelsea, or even West Ham fans going to Bolton, you'll be delighted with the news that one of your main rivals is losing 3-0 at home. Before you kick off at 3 o'clock, we'll have news of all those games on 5 Live during the commentary at Old Trafford and before and after the Grand National at 4:15 as Leighton Baines goes for goal for Everton, 30 yards out. And it's high and wide, and we commentated on that chance for Beckford a few moments ago when he was offside, and he should have put the ball in the net, but you made the comment, the central defenders for Wolves, there's no communication, there's no chemistry, there's nothing.
Well, they've obviously played very well throughout the season, but today I just think there's the problem they're having, the way Beckford is playing, is he's just drifting in between them all the time. And Anachibi's come on and taken up a position that Osman had in the first half and McGay had in the second half, where he's just off the front, which means Carl Henry has to deal with him, which then gives... we were saying earlier in the programme about managerial changes where it gives the opposition, doesn't solve a problem, but gives the opposition manager a problem to deal with. And that's what they've got. And Everton haven't changed too much in terms of the strategy today. They've come to defend with, and they've tried to break off with the attacking players that they've got, and it's working. It's worked a treat so far.
Well, we're beyond the midpoint of the second half. If this is a comeback at Molineux, they'll talk about for years. Mike Ingham will describe it.
The only people not happy with this scoreline will be Liverpool fans, obviously, as Everton try and overhaul them at the top, and Wolves try and get a header in, but it's an easy save for Tim Howard. And just something I said earlier, the last time I sat in the seat, it was Wolves 0, Liverpool 3. It's now Wolves 0, Everton 3. Sorry, Wolves fans. Must be a jinx. But Fernando Torres got a couple that day, and of course, just in case you didn't hear the news, he's on the bench today against Wigan. And Manchester United have made 8 changes against Fulham, which sort of underlined my suspicion that Rooney might not have started even had he been available. Well,
one of the great things about Manchester United is he seems to play as weakened team as he can to get away with it, and generally he does, because they're such good players.
Wolves 0, Everton 3, if you're joining our commentary on 5 Live on Grand National Day. We'll have commentary from that Manchester United-Fulham game. Wolves have had a lot of possession in the second half, but a couple of really good saves from Tim Howard has kept them at bay. They just need something to spark the crowd here. Jarvis hasn't been himself today, but now he's got away from Hibbert down that left-hand side of the field. So Jarvis has the ball. Across comes Jagielka now. Jagielka gets a really good challenge in, and it's a throw to Wolves by the corner flag over on the pass to the unmarked Elakobi. Gets across in here, it could be interesting. Fletcher swings that boot at it. Wolves appeal for a corner kick, and it's given.
Yeah, I think he's got that wrong there, Phil Dow. But anyway, it's a corner. The game needs a corner, so thankfully we've got one. But just to talk about Jarvis, he's got on the ball and he's done very well dribbled, but he's just not had that end product today that he normally has.
Aidy Boothroyd's with us here at Molineux, watching a Wolves in swinging corner. Howard got his fist to it. Good distance as well with the punch. Wolves have it back again once more, and they play it to this near side. O'Hara, who's got the 24 shirt back on again, and O'Hara now moves towards the penalty area. Osman forces him on the outside. Cross comes in, it gets stuck underneath somebody's leg. Fletcher swings at it as well. Everton struggling to clear. In the end, it's Billy Ledenoff who looks for touch down this near side. Across comes Foley in front of his manager, and we're going to have another change in a moment made by Everton. We've talked about this very young bench that they have today. They'll be bringing on a new player soon. Someone... Well, whoever comes on, I won't have seen him before, and I'm not sure if that applies to you as well, Aidy, but is this Velios coming on? I think
it is, yeah.
The Greek player. The Greek player they signed during the window. So he came on against Villa last week. He came on for Distan last week when he came into the game. We'll wait and see what's on David Moyes' mind. In the meantime, they won't make the change at the moment because it's a free kick to Wolves. O'Hara's hunched over it, and it goes, and I'm not sure Howard needed to save that, but it's gone into his hands once more. And he just holds on to that ball and prepares to relaunch Everton. So, David Moyes going to have another look at Velios in a moment as Everton clear into the Wolves half, into the sunshine, controlled by Kitely. Kitely just thwarted by Anichibi. Still in play. I thought David Moyes thought that ball had gone out of play. Wolves have it in midfield. O'Hara, tackled by Billy Ledenoff, comes back into the Wolves central defence once more, and it's Stearman now onto O'Hara again. O'Hara strong to the far side, looks for the run from Elakobi, and it turns out to be a fantastic ball and after all of that, Elakobi just presents it straight back to Everton. It's a terrific ball by O'Hara. Everton now haven't cleared it. Wolves moving forward again. Berra now to Jarvis, early ball in from Jarvis. Howard is very safe in that, and he was fouled I think by Fletcher. So let's go to John Hunt on Grand National Day at Aintree. John.
Yeah, lovely scene here, thank you, Mike. And we're just halfway through the big novices chase here, the second race of the day. Finian's Rainbow and Gizeo, favourite and second favourite, already threatening to dominate this race as they come past the halfway stage. Just taking fence number 6, they're clear of a blundering Starluck and Tony McCoy. Dan Breen is next, and they're making their way now towards the final open ditch on the far side of the track. This should be 6 fences from the finish. Finian's Rainbow, a small mistake from Gizeo, but they might not jump, Luke Harvey, the fence on the side of the course, because at the very first fence, Peter Toole took a crashing fall there from rank outsider Classic Fly.
Poor Peter Toole, yeah, he's knocked out cold. We'll obviously give you news about his condition, but at the moment, Finian's Rainbow, what a gorgeous horse he is, jumping along. The sun you can see shining off his quarters there. He is a beautiful racehorse, but Gazelle going well. It's a 2-horse race, John.
Looks that way. They are being waved around this fence on the side of the course. They can't jump it because of the stricken jockey that's on the landing side of that fence. So they're now just breezing round the outside of it. Poor Peter Toole being attended to by the paramedics. There are 3 more fences left to take. Finian's Rainbow and Gizeo still clear of Starluck and Dan Breen. And of the front 2, Gizeo's the first to come under the squeeze. And Finian's Rainbow, the hot favourite, still holds a narrow lead. Here's the third last, Finian's Rainbow. Gizeo found a great jump, though, to keep him in contention. Dan Breen and Starluck can't land a blow. 2 left to jump here. Finian's Rainbow, Gizeo, separated by just half a length. Gizeo really guessed at that. Didn't jump it well, and Finian's Rainbow now has a 3-length lead heading towards the final fence. So hot favourite, Finian's Rainbow, for Barry Geraghty and Nicky Henderson, who won the opening race today. They still haven't truly shaken off Gizeo, though, who gamely is coming again, down to a length the lead at the last. Finian's Rainbow jumped it well. Gizeo fighting all the way, but still got a length and a half to find. Onto the run-in now and up towards the winning line. Finian's Rainbow is all out to beat Gizeo, but beaten he has by 2 lengths. Finian's Rainbow beats Gizeo, and Dan Breen was third across the line. Another winner for Nicky Henderson, another winner for Barry Geraghty. They've started the afternoon tremendously as we take you back to Wolves and Everton and Mike Ingham.
Thank you very much. Exciting stuff there. It's Wolves 0, Everton 3, as Wolves try and get the ball into the Everton penalty area. And it's a header on. It's a weak one, though, by Jarvis, easily saved. Now, while you were away, Velios, young 19-year-old Greek player, came on, and he's playing right up front. He came on for Beckford, who scored the first Everton goal here today and might have scored a second one as well. And there was a bit of an exchange when Beckford came off between himself and the manager. He clearly wasn't impressed being replaced. But Aidy, you don't mess around with Mr. Moyes, do you?
No, I think Jermaine Beckford's disappointed to be coming off. He thought he saw it as a game as he'd perhaps get a few more goals, but he clearly wasn't doing what David Moyes wanted him to do. And there was it started off as a slight little word, and I think manager stood up, the player sat down, and David went back to tell him a little bit more about what he thought. So I think there's only going to be one winner there in that instance.
But the other way of looking at it is that we're going to have a change here. Milias is coming on for Guardiola. The other way of looking at it too, it's almost a compliment perhaps to Beckford, because there's no Sahar for the rest of the season, and David Moyes is going to need Beckford, isn't he? And they're 3-0 up.
Well, he is, yeah, and I think that's the thing with it's a competitive world that we live in, and players want to play every week, and managers get paid to make decisions, and he's obviously disappointed to be coming off, but I'm sure that's not the end of Jermaine Beckford. I think he's done brilliant this season so far, and I'm sure he'll continue to do that.
Here comes Osman for Everton in the area. Good run from Osman in the end. Berra got the final challenge in, and David Moyes wants the corner kick, and he's turning around.
I think he's a terrific player,
It's
Osman.
no corner, it's a goal kick.
I think, he's one of the most underrated players in the Premiership. You look at him, he looks a bit like an umpa-lumpa. He just gets across the pitch, he's got lovely touch, he goes into the box now and again. He'll play midfield, he'll play any position in midfield, he'll play off the front. And I think he's a real Evertonian through and through, and he's a key player for him, because no matter what big stars are back, they always seem to find a place for him.
He's made for that role as well, going in behind the striker with his movement, and he's been very lively. Scored a goal last week as well against Aston Villa, and that's a lovely description of him from Aidy Boothroyd on Palumpa from the movie. What was the film?
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka, that's right, yes.
I'm out of work at the moment. I don't get out very much.
I never thought we'd be talking about that today. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Anyway, Roald Dahl and all that. It's a throw to Everton over on the far side, and we've 13 minutes to go here. And Everton have the game, it seems, under their control, leading 3-0. Here goes Velios now, tall, young player, Greek player down that right-hand side for Everton. Ball in was interesting. Anichebe, a turn, and it slowly makes its way. And Hennessy was completely wrong-footed because he went down too early. He was expecting more power in the shot, and it was a scuffed effort from Anichebe. And it almost defeated the Wolves goalkeeper.
Well, it's that sort of day, Mike, and at the other end, Wolves get great contact on the ball, straight to Howard, or it hits the back of an Everton player's head and goes out. Whereas today, Everton, it seems every time they go forward, it seems to be that the luck is with them today, and that was nearly a fall for Everton there.
Last time they played away, they won at Newcastle 2-1. Good support for them over on the far side. 3-0 they lead. You're listening to 5 Live. Everton corner over on the far side of the field, a bit too deep for everybody. And if you're joining our commentary, by the way, on Grand National Day, the goals all in the first half after Wolves had made a very bright start. Beckford, first of all, put Everton into the lead. Then we had the second from Philip Neville, and the third finally cracked in from Billy Ledinov. Just watching the referee there, Phil Dowd talking to Osman, just passing the time of day with him. He's had a very easy game to referee. I tell you, so far today, just the one yellow card for Billy Ledinov. Sort of game referees dream about having, really. Hasn't been any trouble at all for him, has there?
Well, I think he's done well, and what I like about him is he's willing to have he's not aloof in any way. He'll have a little bit of a confrontation with the players. He's quite happy to speak his mind on the pitch, and he makes decisions. You know, some referees they'll just be guided by what's going on, but he makes decisions.
Wolves needed something to happen really right at the start of the second half to get the crowd lifted here, but they haven't been able to do it. Everton looking very solid, very compact. It's a classic away performance, really. 10 minutes to go. Wolves 0, Everton 3. All the clubs around Wolves will be delighted with this scoreline, and it's a throw to Wolves, to Everton rather. Only 6 games to go after this, 3 at home and 3 away. Anichebe tries to get the ball for Everton. Wolves clear, but Wolves are being pushed back in their own half at the moment as they're desperate to try and go down the other end, and they've conceded free kick as well. Free kick to Everton. A little bit of wind blowing around here at Molineux on this sunny early Saturday afternoon. Stay with us for all the best action from Aintree and the big programme of league football coming along at 3 o'clock. 3-0 to Everton. Free kick taken. Heitinger onto Anichebe. Anichebe, dangerous ball in right across the 6-yard line. Elakobe missed it. Billy Ledinov missed it as well. And Wolves were let off the hook. Elakobe swished at fresh air, made no contact. Billy Ledinov seemed surprised to get the ball. And now, I'm not sure if it's cramp or whether it's a serious injury. Is it Billy Ledinov as well who's gone down?
Yeah, he's took a swipe at the ball there, and I don't know what it is, but it's surely it can't be cramp.
Well, he's back on his feet again. You know, it could be 6-0 now, couldn't it?
Well, it could be, and it's been that sort of day, Mike, in fairness. It's, you know, the ball's come across, it took a little touch of a Wolves player and got right into the path. Billy Ledinov for there, and he's limping a little bit now. I think whether that's embarrassment or not, I don't know.
3-0 it stays to Everton. No sign at the moment that Wolves are going to manage to do anything about this. Fletcher wants a free kick, he's got it. Now they're running out of time here. 9 minutes to go. Quickly taken kick from O'Hara, finding Jarvis down the left-hand side. In comes the cross from Jarvis! Oh, and Milias was there at the far post, but he didn't manage to reach it. It was skimmed in by Jarvis, and it's gone behind for an Everton goal kick. One more change. Adam Hamill, the player they signed from Barnsley, Liverpool-born, started with Liverpool, is going to come on and play against Everton.
Yeah, it's a great ball in from Jarvis there.
Substitution for Wolves, number 10, Stephen Fletcher.
It looks like Stephen Fletcher is going to come off for Hamill.
And another of the young Everton youth team players, another Liverpool lad, Adam Forshaw, is coming on as well here for David Moyes' team. So Hamill on for Fletcher. They began with Fletcher and Ebanks-Blake. Neither of them are finishing the game. And Forshaw is coming on for the man that was just crocked a few moments ago, Billy Ledinov. He's number 33. And another newcomer for me too, Aidy. I don't know if you've seen Forshaw before, but
I haven't.
He's
no.
a member of the Everton youth setup, obviously.
Well, it's a nice position to be in it for David Moyes, to be able to put these young boys on and give them a little feel of Premier League action.
So without so many of the bigger names, Everton, they've done very well here today, leading by 3-0. They play with a great freedom, very relaxed, very confident, very well organised as well. Hennessy clears now, flatter this time. Hamill, remember, has come on for Wolves, but we only have 8 minutes to go here. Ball downfield, Velios eventually given offside by the assistant over on the far side. Wolves free kick, and Mick McCarthy just now looks fairly kind of resigned to it all, I think, down there now.
Well, it's a difficult one because you've got 8 minutes left. You've made all your substitutions. You've had a couple of half chances. Nothing's dropped for you, and everything that Everton do at the moment, it seems to be working for them. You know, they brought the subs on. Velios up front, who's generally more defensive player. They've got Anachebi on, and it's one of those games where you want to see a goal, so we get a good ending to it.
Just got a picture there of Bill Kenwright, Everton chairman. Happy afternoon for him. Aidy's been talking about relationships between chairman and owners and managers, and it's been a really solid one between David Moyes and Bill Kenwright over the 9 years. In fact, these two, Mick McCarthy and David Moyes, two of the longest serving managers really at this level. Long ball into the Everton half. Distan's not really missed anything at all at the back today. Got his head to it once more. Wolves try their luck. Foley down this near side again against the hard-working Osman, and Wolves have a throw looking for consolations now here. Goal difference could still be very important, as we've mentioned, come the end of the season. Wolves 0, Everton 3 on 5 Live. Leighton Baines will head the ball away for Everton. Flicked in field and given away by Osman. O'Hara now high towards Jarvis, and following it all the way behind his goal line was Howard, and it's going to be an Everton goal kick with about 5 or 6 minutes to go. It's going to be a real scrap, isn't it, at the end of the season?
I think it is, and I do believe it's going to go all the way to the wire. You know, it's not been Wolves' day today. Everton have played very well. You know, we've got a few minutes to go, but I'd be very surprised if Wolves get back into it now. But what mixed teams do, and what Wolves have done over a period of years, is they've bounced back, and they'll do that. They'll be back. The next game coming up is 3 home, 3 away. They've got as good a chance as anybody, and as he said, you know, it's what happens at the very last game of the season. That's when you find out who the champions are, who's in Europe, and who's been relegated. And they've showed enough spirit and scored enough goals and done well enough, I think, to be in there right to the end.
If they go down, Wolves, it will be quite something, bearing in mind they've beaten 4 of the top 6 this season. They've beaten Manchester United, they've beaten Chelsea, they've also beaten Manchester City, and they won at Liverpool. But at the same time, they lost home and away to the bottom team, Wigan. It's that sort, you just don't know what to make of Wolves, really. And they're 3-0 down here today against Everton. It's Jamie O'Hara once more in the centre circle. Thought about going left, puts it down this near side. Foley now onto Hamill. Immediately of the 3 Everton players around Hamill, he puts the ball into the far post. Howard doesn't come for it. Jarvis can't get hold of it. He's got a corner, though. Corner kick to Wolves, and we're into the last 5 minutes of the game. They're 3-0 down here.
You just hope, Mike, talking about Wolves, that we don't look back at the end of the season and say what a massive blow and bad luck it was to lose Kevin Doyle at this stage of the season.
Short corner, back to Kitely. Kitely into the area, and Berra struggled there to get off the ground. Still Milias now, takes the ball to the dead ball line and then just hangs it straight up for Howard to make the save. I mean, it's sort of... The fact that he was injured as well on international duty, I mean, that's galling for a manager too, isn't it, Aidy?
Well, I think so. It is, but you know, it's one of those problems when you're successful, isn't it? Your best players are targeted by other clubs, and your players get international call-ups, play more games, and therefore risk more injuries.
Well, they really missed him here today. He's a pivotal member of the side, spearheading the Wolves attack. Not the same without him today. Philip Neville, who scored the second Everton goal, and that was perhaps the goal which really knocked Wolves back. It was bad enough to go 1 down after a bright start, then Neville smashed that one in, and Billy Ledenoff made it 3-0 before half-time. Sideways header now by Wolves, looking for Milias, and now it's Hamill down the right-hand side. Ball played in obvious pass, which Everton managed to get away from the danger zone, and now O'Hara flicks it across the field to Ella Kobe. Under 3 minutes to go. Wolves 0, Everton 3. Here's Jarvis once more down the Wolves left-hand side. 2 Everton players around him. It's back to Elakobi. 1 in there, too high for O'Hara. Foley trying to reach it. Hard-working Osman clears again. Everton looking to Anachibi, and all he had to do there was stand, really, because Henry comes straight in the back of him, and it's a free kick to Everton, and that is just about it here at Molineux.
Well, they've had a go, Wolves. You can't knock them. They've had a go. They've played the majority of their half in Everton's half, the second half here, and I think they've got both full-backs bombing forward. They're trying to score. They're trying to get a goal for the supporters. But today, unfortunately, Mike, has just not been their day. And Everton came with a very solid-looking 4-2-3-1. They've managed to get goals at key times during the first half. And this second half, they've had the luxury of just defending the last third, the defending third of the pitch very well, looking to counter-attack. And it all looks very easy for Everton at the moment. But one thing's for sure, the Wolves team have certainly had a go at it.
Liverpool, by the way, play on Monday night against Manchester City. You'll hear that on 5 Live. And that's going to be a scrap all on its own, isn't it, Liverpool and Everton? You wouldn't actually bet against Everton at the moment, would you, finishing above Liverpool?
Well, no, you wouldn't. And we said at the start, you know, they seem to just find a way to win. And when you think about the way they play the game and the players they've got
out comes Hennessy before Velios can threaten.
Well, when you think the players that they've got out and they're still managing to get results, you know, people like Arteta, who's the flair player in the team, they just mix up the game so well today with the stretching of the back four and playing in between. They've really found good pockets.
Anachibi now for Everton, sensing a fourth here at Molineux. Lays it left-hand side, initially towards Osman, but now Baines. Here's a chance for Baines to put the ball in towards Velios, and it's gone behind. He's claiming the corner and he's got it. So in the absence of the Artetas, Cahills, Fellaini's and Coleman today and Rodwell, Osman's really stepped up here, and Billy Edinoff as well for the team. Philip Neville, you can always rely on him, you know what you're going to get from him, but Osman in particular has seized the opportunity. Wolves have found him very difficult to pick up at times. Made the first goal to send Everton on their way for Beckford. Bit of a square up between Beckford and his manager when he was brought off, which David Moyes may be asked about after the game. And now Wolves looking to clear. We're playing added time. He's not come out yet, the fourth official, but we are just about to play added time here at Molineux. Don't forget all the 3 o'clock games, the Grand National 2, just 25 minutes away from those 3 o'clock games. For the likes of West Ham and Wigan and Blackpool and Blackburn and all the rest of them, this is going to turn out to be a great result for them. At the start of the day today, 2 minutes of added time, start of the day, the bottom 11 separated by only 7 points, and Wolves are going to get no points here today. Just 2 minutes of added time. Everton free kick, swung across to the far side by Baines. Everton now just keeping the ball and winding down the clock. A very impressive result this, at a ground where a lot of the big names have fallen this season. Osman again, possibly man of the match for Everton. I mean, just looking around, they've all played really well, but Osman's been especially bright. And now it's O'Hara for Wolves, back inside his own half. Even he knows it's all up now for Wolves here. They'll just have to sort themselves out for the last half a dozen games. Distan, just for once, doesn't get the ball. And Foley now for Wolves in the area. Cuts the ball back, and Osman will get it again. And then gives it away. Foley into the area. Everton will clear. It's Jagielka downfield. And we've got about 50 seconds of added time as Anachibi now puts pressure on Stearman. Holds the ball well. Heitinger back again to Anachibi. And he doesn't get it. In fact, he gave up on it, really. And it's a throw to Wolves. Just some final thoughts from you, Aidy. I mean, you just couldn't see this one coming, could you? 3-0 at half-time. And
no, particularly after the start that Wolves made to the game. But, you know, sometimes these things happen, and Everton are the team in form at the moment. They're doing very well. You know, picking up on your point that the opposition will be pleased about it, the other teams around them.
As Wolves build, and I noticed too, loads of empty goal seats all around the stadium, all the Everton fans in the sunshine enjoying it. They don't get many days on the road like this, 3-0 away from home, and to be 3-0 up at half-time, it's been a real luxury for them today. Wolves still building. I'll just get Aidy to finish that point in a moment, as Wolves now with Elakobi for Jarvis, Hibbert's there, had a solid game at right back, and he clears back to the halfway line.
No, I was just going to say, Mike, that as we end the game now, I was just going to say that there'll be lots of other teams around saying, it's a good result for us, but it's only a good result if you can win. And I think that these will bounce back. I think Mick will get these going. Great result for Dave Moyes and Everton, but I'm sure that those Wolves fans will have something to cheer about come the end of the season.
Yeah, there's still an awful long way to go. There's a lot to play for. Those not only have Wolves dropped the points here today, they've also not done their goal difference column any favours either. So Everton took control of this game in the first half. Headed goal first of all by Beckford, then a rare goal, his first for 3 years, from Phil Neville, and then Billy Ledenoff with a left footer as well, which flashed past Hennessy. That was the half-time score, and it is also the full-time score. Wolves 0, Everton 3.